on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
Top of the morning to you, and I be Diggins, I do.
And this is mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo!
Woohoo!
Hoity-toity-toity-toity.
This week, we're talking about a movie that came out, and we had to look this up a couple of times before we started talking about it. A month ago in theaters, and now it's on VOD. It's based on a book. At all. Oh yeah, they got right to it. And you know what? We're better for it, cause now we get to watch it. The Watchers, you guys. Isn't that great?
But Nando, who watches The Watchers?
The three of us, and so far no one else in my circle, even though I told a couple of people about it, and I kind of explained it to them.
In your circle on Google Plus?
That's right. Oh man, remember that?
Oh, remember that? Brought me back, Diggins. Look at you. What a guy.
Remember Google Wave? That was good.
Oh.
That was better than email chains, but then it was like, different than them, so no one liked it. But yeah, it's bullshit. Google's cool.
We love Google.
You know what we shouldn't love about Google is their technology that's invading our homes, because we got to get to the news of the week. A hot new movie came out with the trailer this week. Hellboy something or other. I don't remember what it's called.
That's
the Hellboy,
right,
the Golden Hell or something.
A new Hellboy. Is it related to that other Hellboy that you guys did that was really bad and I've never seen?
Absolutely not. I think it's set in the past. I looked into this one a little bit. We're not going to talk about this too much. But it's like, it seems like it's just kind of the Vivitch kind of spooky horror in the forest. And then Hellboy is doing the investigating, which, some of the comics are that.
I feel confident saying that a movie that has Hellboy in it will probably end up very different from the Vivitch, tonally speaking.
I hope so. Well, I do think he could have knocked that problem out in a couple of minutes. Like the Hellboy could have solved all the Vivitch problems, In fact,
he just would have just punched that goat to hell.
Yeah, I think Hellboy should have been there for all the Robert Eggers movies, He would have been pretty helpful in The Lighthouse. He could have got that, there's like interpersonal drama. Hellboy's got a good sense for that. He's kind of a leader. He could help there.
Yeah.
And he could have killed the Northman, right? That was a Robert Eggers movie.
Yeah, but I don't think Hellboy existed before, during the time of the Northman.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess he wouldn't have existed. An ancient, I know he was found in World War II, but he's like an ancient hell demon thing.
But when he's found in World War II, it's a baby.
Yeah,
he's
he's a new Hellboy.
Yeah, I think it's that.
Is Hellboy like a title? Like now, like Captain America? Have we had Hellboys for centuries? Or no, there was just like that guy. He was Hellboy.
I don't know. But
I'm not a Hellboy
we'll find out,
unfortunately.
Hellboy experts in our, if you listen, find the Discord in the very circuitous way it takes to find our Discord. No one will tell you. You just got to figure it out. The
impossible link that we put in this show description now.
Exactly. And then tell us about all the Hellboys that were around during the Northman times.
Yeah. And that's a movie coming out. But then there's another movie coming out called Afraid, which we're kind of working on pronouncing. It's tricky. But
I like Afraid.
Yeah. It's almost just, my main problem is we kind of lose the D. But
that's what she said.
She being the house lady? Is that what she, John Cho, you have lost the D or something. He's probably upset about that.
I think, from the looks of the trailer, I think she might be saying something more along the lines of, John Cho, I would like the D.
That's true.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, man.
Who among us, guys? Who among us? But yeah, they have a movie coming out by I guess like Blumhouse, because that's the rules. I'm guessing it costs about $40 million to make, or $20 million. It's going to make about $40 million. So a big hit. And as many people pointed out, it's that movie Smart House from Disney Channel with Katie Sagal. Remember that? Did either of you guys watch that?
No, it sounds familiar, but I've never watched it. I've never watched it.
Yeah, I knew it existed, but I've never seen it personally.
Yeah, I watched it when it came out. It was pretty fun. But it's the house's mommy, and the house decides to protect the kids. It must shut down the house or whatever, bullshit like that. But
Okay.
what did you think of this? What did you think of Afraid?
It looks pretty dumb. Like, really dumb.
Wow.
You know, at first it was very much like what I was expecting. You know, like a very Mithrigan derivative kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Mithrigan had the most original premise in the world. It was just fun.
Yeah.
But then I feel like in the last third of the trailer or so, it starts implying some weird things where I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
not sure where this is going.
Yeah, it seems like there's some sort of like, well, for people that haven't seen, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to say exactly what it is. There's two things about it that are like that. One, I won't say, but the other thing is like she seems to be trying to, the relationship between, what is the name of the computer system?
I don't remember. It's not.
I gave it a name.
Oh, is it-
Aya, I think.
yeah.
Is it Aya? Oh, okay.
Super derivative again.
That's interesting because in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they had a evil AI and they named her Ida. But yeah, in this, it feels like she's like she's like giving the little kid videos of explosions to radicalize him, I guess, or something. So that's pretty cool.
It's like a reverse. What's the movie that we did recently where the girl's brain was scanned? The Simu Liu movie.
Atlas.
It's
Yeah.
like a reverse that. It's like the AI scanned the child's brain to be like, oh no, war and stuff.
Right. But this one's
think,
like, if we can trick child into war, maybe this is a prequel to Atlas, and this kid is going to make an Atlas or something.
he's going to grow up to be Simu Liu.
That's right.
Good theory.
I think this is a movie about this AI radicalizing this child into being a domestic terrorist.
Okay.
Hey, man, the pipeline gets weirder and weirder every day. First, it was YouTube videos and stuff, and now it's smart houses. Would you guys get a smart house like this if it wasn't evil? Or even if it was a little evil?
Absolutely not. No way.
Diggins is
No.
not interested in the smart AI house. What if
I
it made
guess
my
the
life a lot
benefits-
easier, though, is the problem.
Yeah, the benefits go to DJ, really, because it seems like it raises your child for you.
Yeah.
But that's the tablet's job, you know?
That and Miss
What's the
Rachel.
tablet supposed to do?
I mean, right now, Miss Rachel is. I'm supposed to go to dinner tomorrow. Well, not supposed to. I'm going to dinner tomorrow with my wife and mother-in-law and father-in-law for my mother-in-law's birthday, and we're going to Fogo de Chao, which I love. But it's like that's an extended dinner, and like once it's like 45 minutes, that tablet comes out because it's like I want to enjoy my lovely Brazilian steak, and I can't have you crying. So here, watch television, essentially. So it's a good deal. I think.
Wouldn't you rather ask the house to do that? Put it in
Yeah,
the
then you don't even
house
have
and
to
then
bring the child. You
Yeah.
leave it with the
Yeah.
house.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's all true. No lies detected.
Do you think Jackson's at the stage where you could like trick him with points and stuff? Like the house seems to do like a bartering system or whatever with like stars.
This is another good idea.
Yeah.
It is
It's
funny
coming.
that part of the point of the movie seems to be this AI is brainwashing our children with a very like systematized rewards program.
Yeah. Especially because some of the brainwashing is like, if you go to school, I'll give you a point. And it's like, that seems like the kind of thing you don't need to give any points for. Or you should just be cool with it. Like, I don't know.
It's like,
Let him
just
give
do
him
it.
points for that. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. What would be over the line for you? At what point would you be like, the house has gone too far with these points?
If it starts affecting me, where it's like you get 2 points for like kicking your dad in the balls, then I'd be like, stop it,
Aw.
house. Don't infringe on my life. But
I
if it
think
was
when
like,
when it starts being everything, where it's like 2 points for not pissing your pants, I'm like, okay, hold on. That's just a thing you should do, okay? There are things that I understand. Some incentive structures work. You should just not piss your pants for your own sake.
stop pissing
Also-
your pants.
I feel like the DJ ball kicking points should escalate as time goes on, because as time goes on, they will be harder to do because DJ will be hiding his balls from his child. So then you want like 2 points for
it's
first
true.
time, but then 5 points second time, 10 points third time. You know,
Get away from my balls.
yeah.
I think
Otherwise,
actually
it's
the
not going to
point-
be worth it.
I think the points numbers go up the more vociferously DJ has recently expressed not wanting to have more children. because this house is trying to incentivize making you infertile.
But wouldn't the house want you to have more children because the house loves children because it can give them more points?
I guess I guess it depends if it's at a point where the AI cares more about its own desires or if it is still maximizing the like desires of the family.
Well, I feel like
what's the AI's objective?
Yeah, I think the AI would like a fresh kid.
The mom.
Yeah. I feel like if that's the case, I'd like to see the scene where John Cho and his wife, played by where's she from? She's from something. I don't know.
She's from Afraid.
She's from Afraid, yeah. I'd like to see a scene where they don't want to have sex or aren't in the mood, and AI lady tries to make them in the mood with the power of turning the lights on and off or whatever the house is able to do. Be pretty cool. We all agree.
So what you're saying is if that AI had been around for Inside Out 2, the dad wouldn't have anger in control.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's a good point.
That's true. The AI could really help with the Inside Out 2. Especially if, like, Joy could take over the kid. Well, I guess maybe anxiety would take over the kid. I don't know. I liked Inside Out 2, right?
I feel like it would start with Joy because it would be like shorting out the kid's dopamine by providing a constant drip of points. But then, like all like Skinner boxed people, like eventually that kind of just like shorts out. You don't even get the dopamine anymore, and you just need the points, and it's all anxiety.
That's right. I'm speaking of AI and Inside Out. I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm trying to find the clip. This is someone from the Discord group, I'm assuming, although it could be from a different part of the Discord, but that's definitely where I saw it. Someone was like, I wanted to go see Inside Out 2, and I Googled Inside Out 2 showtimes, and Inside Out, or the Google AI just told me the end of the movie. That was what I thought I wanted.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
That's
I can't
horrible.
find it now, but pretty good. No, it's good. It's like, yeah, don't bother. Just go, here's what it is, you know?
Gosh.
Save you some time. Not even if it's a good movie or a bad movie, just do it with all the movies.
That's terrible.
I like that.
I feel awful.
Look, guys, of course, the AI needs a lot of kinks worked out, and the answers are bad most of the time or based off of Reddit joke posts that it can't tell aren't real, etc. But you have to consider it's also using 10 times as much energy as Google was using before and is causing to miss all of their climate goals. So, we have to deal with some trade-offs in order to get good things.
Psyched about that. It's very good.
Do you think we could, if we said that like mostly nitpicking was powered by AI, do you think we could like make a lot more money? Because that seems to be the deal.
DJ, no one would ever believe it. There's an authentic human badness that no AI can truly replicate. Yeah, AI is like nonsensical or just like totally generic slop. Whereas the no AI would ever get to a point where we, in multiple episodes in a row, bring up cum.
I was gonna say, talk about cum, right? That's a special, mostly nitpicking special. Did you guys see the Al Michaels thing for the Olympics?
Was he talking about cum?
I'm so far away from understanding that sentence that I don't even know if I don't understand it.
Al Michaels is a not retired sports broadcaster because he still does like some football, but he's like a mostly retired sports broadcaster that used to work for NBC. NBC obviously hosts the Olympics. Well, not obviously, I guess everyone hosts the Olympics every year. And he used to do like play-by-play and stuff for them. But he's like kind of older now and doesn't, I guess, want to. So they got an AI bot to do his voice and like talk through the Olympics. And the idea is, I guess on Peacock, that there's like hundreds of events that you could watch. And there's no way that one person could like narrate or summarize all of them. So they're going to have this AI Al Michaels do it. And he signed off on it. He was totally cool with it. But he listened to it and he's like, it's really good. It's kind of scary how good it is, but I think it's cool. And I'm like, no,
horrible. Absolutely horrible.
This is a nightmare. So we're doomed. I guess we're doomed. I get the logic of like, okay, because we have streaming now. If you wanted to just watch like men's high jump to do a callback, right? If you wanted to do men's high jump and just watch that, like that's not something that would always be available on TV, but now streaming you can watch it, and like they don't always have people who can commentate for that. But like, isn't the answer to get just more people, like employ more people to do it?
DJ, we can't possibly pay people. Don't be ridiculous.
But like, I'll narrate men's high jump. Like, I don't think the computer's going to do better than me. Because is someone typing up a script and the AI is reading it? Are they doing prompts?
That was actually going to be my question. Is it just like they're doing the AI to make the voice and it's just reading things humans are writing? Or is it like generating the commentary based on, I don't even know what it'd be based on because it can't see things. It doesn't understand things that way.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well, I'm sure the AI listens to this so it can scrub all our voices for something. So let's say some things. Here we go. Let's talk about the long jump and Al Michaels and like just some sentences that he can say in case the AI is looking for like ways to react to different people doing the men's long jump.
Super Monkey Ball is looking for commentary on Olympic sports.
I'll go first. Wow.
Okay.
It was a huge bummer how his leg hit the pole and then he landed and then he hit his balls real bad. I know someone else go.
All right. Hey, this is Al Michaels here. And I just want to say we're covering the pole vault event here right now. And I think we can all agree the pole vault and the high jump are basically the same thing. I think there shouldn't be two events. It should just be one of them. You could pick one. I don't care which, but we don't need both. That's just a little something I wanted to say while the pole vault event is getting started.
All right, here we go. I'll do mine. Hi, I'm Al Michaels, and here you for watching the Olympics, being a very good boy. Me, your mommy, Al Michaels gives you 100 points, and you can use those points to overthrow your father, who I love and want to be my husband, the one from Harold and Kumar. The end. That's what the AI would say. Do you think, what was my other thought about the AI? Listen, I don't like AI, but I don't think we should make it watch the Olympics. I don't think that's fair. Like, that seems mean.
This is the AI that's watching the Olympics?
Yeah.
We got to think about the
Olympics
AI's, needs and wants.
This is the Ultron scene that radicalizes it to want to explode us all. It has to watch fucking Olympics.
It's a good point.
What's the worst sport that the AI has to watch? I'll go first. I have a theory. So it's the first year they're doing this sport, and I don't think it's going to go well. Breakdancing.
No shit. No, that's awesome because they could do the robot, and the AI would like that.
Yeah,
that would be.
It'll be like, oh shit, those are my moves.
It's me, Al Michaels. I love it when I am the AI. Do a breakdance. I feel like you want, what's the worst thing for the AI to watch? In the Summer Olympics?
Yeah.
I feel like the AI would really let me see if I can find a list of the events. I will pick it out.
Okay. Do you have one, Diggins, that you're thinking of?
I think the AI would really dislike shot put, and I don't know why. I just feel like shot put, it would just be like, the AI would just be like, I do not understand. It does not compute. Why are they throwing the heavy ball?
I think it's possible because maybe it thinks it could get hurt. It's like, oh no, they could shot put me to death. This is the human's greatest strength is their shot put ability.
The AI, like the first people to watch that movie with the train, is like, what if the shot put ball comes out of the screen and smashes my processor?
It's a great point.
Yeah. I think it's a great point.
I'm going to say the AI would have a really hard time enjoying trampoline. Looking at the list of sports, because I feel like the AI, I feel like there's some sports where like, it's like basketball, baseball, I don't know. I feel like for those, there's a lot going on and it probably is hard for the AI to decide. I guess it's hard for the AI to calculate exactly what's going to happen. But with trampoline, it's so isolated. I feel like the AI is watching and go, yeah, I know. He's going to fall at 85 meters and land it, do this many backflips or something. I think the other one that would be really hard for AI to take is boxing because of Rock'em Sock'em Robots in that movie. Yeah. Remember the movie where Hugh Jackman did Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
Yeah. Oh, you mean that probably would
Steel? Be really, yeah, that'd be really bad for the AI to watch. Or maybe it would be like
Real Steel next week.
Agreed.
I like Real Steel. I've seen Real Steel. It's pretty fun. it's a good Hugh Jackman, like prelude to Deadpool as well. So
there we go.
There's the hook. There's the hook.
It stars Hugh Jackman as whatever. I don't know any other fucking names. I know Anthony Mackie, I believe, is in that movie as something. And then I think
the two Rock'em Sock'em robots, the red one and the blue one.
Yes, quite perhaps. But then there's also, I think, a Evangeline Lilly is in it, who I believe recently quit acting. So it's going to be
to focus on vaccine skepticism full time. That's
right. I mean, she seems like someone who might go into the woods to try to, learn something about a certain thing, And
damn right.
We'll get to it, but I feel like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see her on a computer in 5 years, exasperated talking about the experiment. So we're gonna start talking about this video, this week's movie. I want to say video. It's kind of like a video. It's called.
All movies are videos when you think about it.
Yeah,
that's true. It's called The Watchers.
Watchers.
Is that it? Watchers.
Yeah,
okay,
Watchers.
Yeah.
Yes, there's more than one, as you will know if you saw the movie.
And it is. That's right. Yeah, there are quite a few watchers, and then there's also the people that are watching it. Although maybe not more than one of those, according to
just
box
the three
office.
of us, and maybe a couple of M Night Shyamalan probably watched it.
That's right.
I'm sure, and his daughter, who directed it, I'm sure she watched it several times.
I'm saying he. Well, I'm not counting people who made it. I'm saying he probably watched it to support his daughter.
He's so busy though with that movie where they're setting a trap. They're gonna set a trap for Josh Hartnett. So he'll probably catch it when there's time. He definitely probably didn't get around to the theater, but like now that it's on VOD, she's probably like, "Dad, you gonna watch my movie?" And he's like, "All right, yeah, well, no, okay. I just gotta finish up Acolyte." But I feel like this.
Get into it, honey.
Yeah, this is one of those kind of came and went movies. I know it's based on a book, and it came out in June. Like we said, directed by M Night Shyamalan's daughter, whose name I can't remember. But to look it up, I would have to look at the IMDb page, so I'm not going to do that.
I think it's Ishana Shyamalan.
Oh, okay. Is it?
I mean, the person who's allowed to look at IMDb could tell us, but
is it Night Shyamalan as well?
Ishana. I'm going to guess Ishana. Ishana Shyamalan. ISHANA.
That's what I thought.
Ishana. Wait, so what is her full name?
Ishana Shyamalan.
Okay. Yeah, so she directed it, and then it stars mostly what's her name? Dakota Fanning, Little Miss Sunshine. She's back, baby.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other people who are probably kind of famous a little bit. We'll talk about it because I recognize one of them. Yeah. But who's the IMDb-ster this time?
It's me.
Wow. Speaking of IMDb, have you guys seen when I open up what is it? What's the evil one? Amazon Prime to watch my favorite, The Boys. The hit movie of this week is The Beekeeper. That movie is going strength to strength this year. Everybody's seeing it. Yeah.
I think we've got to be poised for The Beekeeper to sweep the Oscars.
I believe it. I
feel like he can't have an Oscar yet, or have ever been nominated for all the movies he's done. But I think Jason Statham's probably one of those guys who would go. He would dress up.
I believe it.
Yeah, he'd probably have a great time.
He is a famous actor. He's probably invited.
Yeah, but you just have to get nominated, and I don't know about that. I don't know.
I feel like you're allowed to go if you haven't been nominated.
Maybe for usual people, but if you do transporter movies, they don't let you in.
You got to be a high profile guy though. And I just don't think Jason Statham's there.
Yeah,
wait, hold on. Who took over the Transporter franchise from him, and has that guy ever been?
Wait, there's more? They did it after him?
They made one more. It was Ed Skrein. But, so.
Rebel Moon Zone?
Classic. Rebel Moon Zone, yeah. Wait, now that I think about it. Okay, before we get into The Watcher, what's the best Jason Statham movie? Like, the one with the highest amount of prestige, or the one that you think is probably assumed to be the best thing he's ever made?
Expendables.
Okay, those are two extremely different questions.
I would still say Expendables 1. I think that movie's still well regarded.
Is it?
I wouldn't say it's a movie with a lot of prestige, though.
I don't even think it was well regarded when it came out.
Really? You don't think so?
No. It was very bad. I remember watching it and being like, this is not even good. But maybe that was just me.
But like, it's all the star power, and I don't know. I feel like there's something there.
I feel like I think there's a case for him in Spy. That was kind of a movie people liked, and he was pretty good in it. Obviously, Operation Force to Gare or whatever, which none of us have watched yet.
But of course.
But then he's in The Snatch, right? He's in those Guy Ritchie gangster movies, and
Right.
those tend to be regarded pretty well. And then people like Crank a lot. I think Crank has aged quite well. To the point where
You put Crank over Expendables?
That's not like absolutely. In terms of quality, 100%. But in terms of prestige, I don't think either of those are prestigious.
What about Fast 7? That was the one where Paul Walker was dead, so it was very sad. And that's his first Fast movie.
His first full one. He cameoed in 6.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, that movie's really bad, so probably not. Probably his early stuff, as far as prestige goes. His stuff with you said his name earlier, and I'm blanking.
The Guy Ritchie stuff
with Guy Ritchie, or maybe like Italian Job or one of those things.
Oh yeah, Mark Wahlberg's Own.
That's a good one.
He loves that one. Well, there's always time.
Again, I'm talking purely about prestige here. Those are probably the most well-regarded by film types.
Right.
Not
that's
the best things he's made.
Well, that's the problem with him is he's so ripped and sweet that, like, how could he even do a biopic of some guy who's not ripped and sweet, you know? Like, it wouldn't work. You need somebody who's like, you need to do a biopic of, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, and then maybe he could swing it. But, like, I don't know. And he could probably sing. He could probably do a singing biopic if he needs to. Jason, call us. We've got options.
Is he in Sing?
No,
man. That
I
would
don't
have
think
been a great
so.
get for him.
Yeah.
Would have loved every
He's
part of that.
It's not one of the British gangsters who are gorillas?
I don't know. I mean, one of the British gangsters that's gorilla is Bono. But then...
No, Bono's the lion.
Oh,
in the second one, yeah. He's the old redemption story.
No, isn't he the dad of the gorilla?
No, Bono's the lion. That's the whole thing about the second one.
Yeah.
Oh. I haven't watched these, or I've watched them in clips on YouTube or something. So wait, who plays his dad? It's probably Ray Winstone, though, or something like that. Probably like a Jason Statham type, but I don't think he does that much animation. He should be in Inside Out 3 as, you know, teen pregnancy or something. Show up and start threatening all the other emotions with a gun. But you guys, the watchers.
Oh, boy. Oh, God.
DJ, IMDb'sman. Lay it on us, baby.
Okay, so this is the IMDb B as in Spelling Bee, a game we do every week with me and two of our esteemed co-hosts. So what we do is we two of us have to guess what I always botch describing this game. Have to guess a summary from IMDb, and the judges decide who wins, and it's always fair every time. And guys, what a doozy we have with for us this week.
Oh no!
But
yeah.
Before I get to that, I bet everyone's wondering, hey, how do you get the IMDb B as in summary? Oh my God, IMDb B as in Spelling Bee summary. That's a great question, and it's actually very simple. So every year, the people at IMDb get all of the birds together in North America. They get every North American bird together, and they have them watch a bunch of movies, and then the birds kind of skywrite the summaries, and then people have to write them down. And then whoever writes the best summary, it gets first bird prize, and then the rest are executed, and then we have to get a lot more birds.
The birds are the people.
But what?
The birds are executed, or the people who wrote them down?
The bad birds are executed. I'm not going to execute a person. I'm not a monster. Come on now. I can't believe you'd even suggest that. So I have here the bird summary for the watchers, and it's pretty good. Like it's a pretty solidly good summary. Like I don't have a lot of issues with it. So who goes first? And one of you has to win because there's like no good tiebreakers.
I bet, yeah. That's going to be a tough one.
Nando is our esteemed loser, so he gets to decide.
I want Diggins to go first because I forgot all their names. And if he wants to use the name, then I'll hear it and go, that's the name. So yeah, you go first.
Delightfully devilish, Nando.
Mm-hmm. Clever.
Okay. I feel like this is one of those ones that doesn't use names, though. So even though I do remember them and will say all the names after Nando says his summary, I'm not going to use them in my summary. Okay. A woman who still reeling from the loss of her mother finds herself trapped in a mysterious forest in West Ireland, where she and others are monitored every night by enigmatic beings.
The end.
The end.
Okay.
All right. Nando.
All right. After a woman gets lost in an Irish forest, she finds a safe house with a couple of people and becomes trapped, forced every night to be watched by a mysterious presence from the forest.
All right, and their names are Dakota Fanning is Mina. The other woman is Kira, or Kiara, however you say it. The old woman is Madeline. The man is Daniel. Right. And the woman's husband, who's mostly not there, is John. Mina's sister is Lucy.
All right.
And the professor is Rory Kill Martin? Rory Kill Martin.
I remember that. Kills. Mm-hmm.
I love this tiebreaker. Well, so I actually have a winner. I think one of you absolutely crushed it.
Oh.
And that winner is Diggins.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I'm going to read it and then it'll make sense. But yeah, Diggins, you got a lot of details. Great. Right. A young artist gets stranded in an extensive immaculate forest in Western Ireland.
Boom.
Where after finding shelter, she becomes trapped alongside three strangers stalked by mysterious creatures each night. So the Western Ireland and Diggins, I thought your flowed better than Nando's in terms of going through each of the beats of the events.
Yeah, I got that Dracula flow.
I think this is probably one of the better IMDb summaries that we've had in a while. That was really good, Diggins.
I do think artist feels like it comes out of nowhere.
Yes, yeah, that's
I guess
it's the only issue I have with this.
I guess she does do some drawings over the course of the movie, but I feel like I could just as easily say a young pet shop employee.
Yes. I guess we'll talk about it, but the artistry comes up big in a certain way at the end, right?
I mean,
I guess.
In what way?
The floor drawing is what I'm thinking of, right? Not anyone could just do that, right? That's
right, but I don't think the floor drawing actually helps them at all, does it?
I mean, the movie implies it because, again, we'll talk about it, but I think the movie implies that it helps given the shots back and forth.
I don't know. I feel like it's just, showing us the journey in an artistic fashion because the first day they're there, the old lady takes her out to the last sign, don't go past this sign. So they know how to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's that bit where she's drawing stuff in the book to catalog plants. But besides that, I guess she doesn't seem like artist is her job. And even a hobby she's really passionate about. It just seems like she's a bird person or something.
Bird person?
Yeah. But
I get that.
Yeah.
So Diggins, you tell us what you thought of the movie first as your reward for crushing the summary.
Yum. So tasty, this victory. Okay, so what did I think of The Watchers? I read a thing online a review of this movie that I feel like is a fair thing to say about this movie, which is that most people don't have major releases of the first movie they've ever made. And, in some ways that's a little unfair to young Shyamalan here. Because a lot of first movie mistakes being made here that normally, you'd be knocking out in film school in things no one besides your classmates will ever see. That being said, it's not a very good movie. It's mostly pretty boring. Just because, not a lot is happening that actually, drives the tension. Or at least, not a lot happens that feels motivated or makes sense in any real way, because the characters are paper thin. So, it's hard to feel invested in any of it. And then also, the movie has themes, and I don't think it executes on them, in a horrendous or, embarrassing way. But it does love to constantly remind you and have characters say them out loud and just underline them over and over and over again to the point where it becomes comedic. So I think it could have used a touch more subtlety than it has. All of which is to say, I don't think the movie's very good. I think it has potential, but it's clearly it's clearly someone who hasn't fully learned how to make a good movie yet. And maybe she will one day. I don't want to rule it out. She's not talentless, but as the children would say, this is not it, sir.
Well, they already made it. That was the other, that one came out a couple of years ago. This
is not it, sir?
It.
Oh, it's not it. Right.
Those movies were quite successful, but she's probably like, I can't make it. Because that's already a thing.
What about you, Nando? What did you think of The Watchers?
Oh, it stinks. It's not good. I think it's you know what? I feel like it's gonna feel like we're going pretty hard on this Ishana Shyamalan character person, who I know from Nothing But This and from directing parts of Old. She also worked on Old and The Servant Show, which I haven't watched, but is also insane. Because Hannah watched it. I can't do it. But I didn't like. But I think the thing that's so interesting about it is she's M Night Shyamalan's daughter. This is based off a book, so it's an adaptation. She didn't write it. Nobody wrote it. She
wrote it for the
idea.
Screen. She wrote the screenplay.
Right, you're right. But yeah, it doesn't have I guess sometimes M Night Shyamalan has what are clearly M Night Shyamalan ideas, and sometimes he does adaptations. And you could, I guess what I'm saying is, based on all this stuff that is right and wrong about this movie, you could convince me he made this. It feels so much like all the bad M Night Shyamalan movies that have, for instance, actors speaking dialogue lines that are insane with no emotion, and it's really boring, but also kind of fun camera stuff, and atmosphere is kind of put together in a way that's competent. But just man, I would say those are the two Shyamalan properties, and then some big bullshit twist at the end. But the idea that the filmmaking, all the shot design and stuff is more or less good, and creative and competent, and then at the same time, the story that's being told and the dialogue that the actors are having to say is insane and has no basis in reality, and which makes the whole thing incredibly they feel detached and fake in a way that I think undermines the overall premise of trying to be scary in a relatable way. I don't think Dakota Fanning's particularly good in this, but I don't think anybody's doing a terrible job.
Could you imagine
I do just think the script is...
if Dakota Johnson was the main character in this?
She was busy and she probably passed on it, but I think she would have. It seems right up her alley. It's crazy because she makes good movies, but also these. And it'd be kind of interesting because she is also a Nepo baby, right? So to get the whole Nepo baby directing Nepo babies, it would, the Ouroboros kind of prophecy is fulfilled moment.
When you say Dakota Johnson makes good movies, you're of course referring to the 50 Shades trilogy.
Exactly. That's the one and only. But it is so good that it counts as 15 movies as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, that part, this movie's bad. It's pretty boring. The twist is bad. All that stuff with the twist is bad. Like the parts of it that don't make any sense and the parts of it that do make sense. All the way it's teased throughout the movie is bad. Yeah, it's dumb. Is there anything good about the movie? I don't know. No, not really. I don't think anybody will enjoy this. I don't think this is a fun for, getting drunk or high or whatever and watching it. I don't think it really works that way either. So
fun for all ages.
Yeah, it's not like, the other Night Swim. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a shame because I think this premise is interesting. Honestly, there's a couple of moments where I think I can, where there were moments where I was like, oh, is that what this movie is about? Oh, how interesting. And then they fucked it up or something. Like it didn't go in those directions. But I think there are interesting avenues this movie could have gone down. I'm imagining the limitations of the book, which I remember when the trailer came out and people were like, ooh, this looks kind of cool. Other people were like, nah, the book's not very good. And it's probably going to be bad like that. I honestly wish they could have taken that and then changed it to make it other stuff. Yeah. But, I don't know. It's a movie. DJ, what'd you think of Watchers?
I think you guys kind of nailed it. What killed me is I was almost in on the introductory premise where I'm like, oh, this is something that I think could be interesting. But I think it falls flat because it runs out of runway. I'm almost on board in the first, I don't know, half hour. But the weirdest part for me is okay, she gets there early. Great. I'm like, oh, this is paced so well. And all right, we're seeing that thing's going in the forest. She goes down the hole, not hating it. I think all the complaints are there, but I'm not having a bad time, I guess I would say. But then there's this pivot. And again, I guess spoilers, whatever. I'm not going to spoil. I'll keep it vague, but there's a pivot and then it's almost oh, okay. The movie's a little different now. Mission accomplished, but now there's 30 minutes of more movie, which was insane. That was the most insane part to me. It's almost like if an old they got off the beach and then we spent 30 minutes in the lab figuring that out, and then one of the old people came and
someone hasn't seen Old then, because Old kind of does do that. It's pretty insane, but yeah, it has. There's quite a few. There's quite a lot of time spent post beach that is mind numbing.
Well,
so yeah,
maybe
similar.
sins of the father carrying to the daughter, whatever. But anyway, I think it kind of goes on a very big downhill slope. Also, there's stuff in the movie that's there for no reason to make any sense. We'll talk about it, but that's just the frustrating nitpicking stuff, which I think is in a lot of Shyamalan movies. And again, I don't want to attach Ishana Shyamalan to her father, although it's hard not to.
I mean, I feel like she's done it first.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think he did it first by being her father. That was his main thing. Yeah.
Well, she was attached to her
he
mother.
Should have. Well, that would have been the house's job if things were going well. If they lived in the future of now, she would have gotten enough points to learn how to do character design and stuff. But unfortunately, the point system was not perfected.
But yeah, I don't know. I this movie is kind of doo-doo, and I would say avoid. It's very telling that they released a VOD a month later. That's all you need to know. People weren't.
To be fair, they do that with good movies too. It's just how movies are.
That's fair. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Furiosa's on VOD now, so
Yeah,
is what it is.
So
still see it in theaters if you're gonna see it.
I did not care for it. So Nando, you now have the lovely job of describing this movie, which I don't think is terrible. It's kind of
you could do it.
There's a lot of stuff in the middle that I'm going to have trouble with. But I mean, I got it going here, so I'll remember it now
to make sure you're right.
Okay.
It does help with VOD movies because we could watch along and
Yeah,
it's true.
Totally. And this one, I'd say you'd figure, I guess, because of what we've already described, you figure it would be more linear, but because there's just this big chunk of the movie in the middle, I'd say the beginning, the first half of the second act is just a lot of fucking around, and that part I'm trying to figure out.
Very little finding out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. It's Well, we start with a man. This is, I think we'll find out, is John, who is trying to escape some sort of forest something. We don't see what it is, but he's running around through trees, and he passes a sign that says point of no return, and he's like, what? This is impossible. He has to climb a tree to hide from something. We never find out. He doesn't see it, but because he falls out of the tree and lands on his little behind, and as he's sitting there, something comes up to him. And then he says to himself and kind of us, that's not possible. And then whatever happens. And then that's like the beginning. Little fun, little cold open. This guy, this will be important later, but also it's his reaction to the thing is maybe our first sign that this movie ain't going to work. Also he gets dragged into the hole. There's some sort of magic little hole that he gets dragged into. But yeah. So The Watchers, that's the movie. So then we meet Dakota Fanning's character. I don't know her name, but it doesn't matter.
Nina. Ellie?
Oh, Ellie?
Nina.
Nice.
No.
No. I was going to say they named her after her sister, Mina. Yeah. Like Mina Harkin, the villain, one of the characters from League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Actually, it is a Dracula reference because her sister is Lucy, one of the other women in Dracula.
Oh. Is that getting at something?
Not really.
No, not really. Okay. Were they trying to
They're
trick us into thinking it was vampires with symbolism, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, she works at a pet store. She vapes because she's young. I mean, she's our age, but whatever. She watches the snakes in the pet store all day. Isn't that interesting? And she's bad at pet store jobs. She lives in Ireland, by the way. This is important.
Wait, Nando, she watches creatures in glass cages all day?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like
with
it's
similar lighting.
Some kind of metaphor for something.
You'd think so, but not really. It just kind of is something she also does. But her boss, who is like, you suck at your job, it's like, hey, here's a bird. We need to deliver this bird to like a museum or something. Or a zoo, excuse me. It's just like a museum. And we need to take a real long trip. And you can tell she's like, she doesn't give a shit about life and herself because she's like, I'll go on a trip.
Relatable.
I don't even care. Yeah, I get that.
Also,
nice.
They're in Galway, and he says this needs to go to Belfast. That's like a 4-hour drive. It's not pleasant, but it's not that long.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, so, yeah, it's oh, yeah, and she's an artist. I guess she has art at home.
The art we have at home.
Yeah. And it looks great. It all looks bad. She takes this bird home with her. It's a little yellow canary-ish type thing. I don't know if it is canary, but
it's a parrot because it can talk.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a parrot because it can talk once or twice when it's kind of convenient.
Try not to die.
Yeah.
I think they give it I think they even give it it's like a golden conure, I think.
That feels right. Yeah. I don't know a lot of bird stuff, but some people love birds, you know?
I love a good bird.
These people do, you know?
I like
they're so handy. Ooh. Very good. So then this woman puts a wig on and goes to a bar to hit on a man or get hit on, get chatted up. And this part, man, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Like, I have no idea why the movie shows us this, besides just that she like gets judged by the bird and it's like, don't even get on my shit for this.
Because Nando, she's transforming into another person.
Whoa!
But like, why?
Maybe that's like something that happens later.
Right. But like in this person's head, like right now, why is she doing it?
I mean, she says it verbally out loud to the parrot later. Remember? I know.
And she explains it. It's just so dumb.
It is dumb. I'm just saying. If you want the reason why, she says it with her mouth.
That's fair. So she goes on this car ride through scenic Ireland, and she's like, just doing it. She doesn't like it, and her life is sad. She thinks about times she's been in cars and has like little, kind of stuff. But she goes through big, thick woods. It's fair, yeah. She goes through big, thick woods and drives in it, and then, so first of all, her phone dies, it gets runes and dies, and then her little radio gets ruined and dies, and then the car just shuts off. And then she's like, I'm stranded here with my bird. She takes the bird with her and goes looking for help or something, because she's like, well, I just follow the way I came in, I guess, or something. She then quickly loses the car, but she still has the bird because she took it with her for some reason. Even though it feels like if you want to find the car, the handy way to find that is to have the bird be in it, whatever. Also, it's not like a bird, like it's sitting on her shoulder. She has a humongous cage, like a cartoon character, for this bird that she's just carrying for the entire movie.
Oh, do you think a bird cage could be symbolic of something?
It could. You know what? It could be symbolic of something.
Huh.
If the symbolism, decided to do anything. But she just runs around for a while in the woods and like finds nothing. She finds some holes, probably there's birds and shit. But then she sees a woman, who is, we'll see later. She follows the woman to a little house, and the woman's like, if you come in the house in 5 seconds, you will survive. And then she runs into the house and she's stuck there. So inside the house, we're going to be 3 people. So first, obviously, we have this woman named, what we say, Miriam or something like that? Madeline, yeah. Named after the little girl who goes to school in France. She's an older woman.
That's Madeline, you silly goof.
That's fair. But she seems to have like got more witziness to her than these other 2 people. And then, so there's her. There's a younger woman who's probably about the same age as our main character. And she is from Barbarian. She's the one from Barbarian in the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And then there's a boy who I would say is supposed to be younger than both of them, although not too much younger.
Feels like
he
maybe
also
early 20s, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's tough because even though this is a movie where the characters have nothing but fucking time, none of them talk about anything interesting. Like there's never any bit about like what Danny's life was like, or I mean, there's a little bit of that, but like not like enough to make it interesting. There is a little bit, yeah. We will learn from the other. What is the other woman's name? That one I can't remember for the life of me. Kiara. We'll learn from Kiara. Because Mina asks Kiara how long Kiara's been there, and Kiara's like, "Oh, the days they all blend together. Maybe 5 months or something like that." She seems like the youngest, not youngest, but the least time served in the box of those 3.
She specifically says that.
Yeah, and it seems like the old lady's been there forever. I don't know about Danny, but so what do you do in this box? Because the box it's important. It's got like a chair, a gramophone, like table chairs, a television set with some boxes of like movies that are all one reality show, and a big wall that is a double-sided one-way mirror. Yeah. So she cannot see out, but she can see she's in a mirror. And what they do, and when it becomes night, is they all stand in front of the mirror and just stand there.
Two-way mirror? Is that thing called the two-way mirror?
Yeah, I think that's
like a one-way mirror is just a mirror. Like a two-way mirror is the two-way mirror.
And she says, so she's like, "Why are we standing here?" And then Madeline says, "The Watchers, they like to watch." And then she's like, "Stand forward," and then Amina stands a little bit forward, closer to the mirror. And then she says, "Oh, they're chittering because they love you. You're new and beautiful," or something. And so what we learn then, because then they kind of explain the rules. All those, there's little points of no return. They're scattered throughout the forest in what would be some sort of perimeter, like a radius around this house. What they are is, if you, I guess, run at full speed towards them and then run at full speed back, that's a day. That is not how they are treated in the movie, because you can kind of walk to them and then like kind of bump into them, but whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It's less scientific than that. They have to be in the watchy things for night because something's going to get them. They also can't turn their back on the watchy things, because they don't like that.
But actually, they can't that never investigate. Comes up.
It does never. Many characters do it and nobody cares. But there's magic holes, like we said. You can't go in the holes. Never go in the holes. Which we'll see. Maybe someone will try that.
What?
And then they have to eat the food they can find. So they're not fed by these things, even though these things seemingly want them to continue to exist. They have to like hunt for rabbits and shit. Whatever. So they do that.
Even if they're not good at it.
Even if they're all bad at it, even though they've been here for all their lives. So they go and they keep having a couple nights. We go through some day night cycles. At some point, I can't remember when, 5 months pass, I think, or something crazy like that. Did I hallucinate?
I think it's
that?
after she goes down the hole and Madeline goes to Mina. How dare you? Oh my gosh! Wait, I can do this. You haven't listened. I can do this. I can do this.
See, it's weird because she's
but
not
Mom,
super
it's just
Irish.
That's Scottish, DJ. She's just Irish.
No, I know. It's like they close like again. It's like, how could you've done this, Mina? How dare you? You haven't listened to. All right.
Wow.
It's
over.
She's a European woman. What is she doing here?
Yeah.
It's over. It's over.
Is this woman Irish though? Because I do feel like she sounds more British than Irish.
I think she's.
I was
That's a good
confused
excuse
about
for me,
that.
I guess.
Supposed to be an Irish woman.
She certainly should, based on everything we know. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah. And she's like she's in charge of this, obviously, of all these people. Not like in charge of it because that wouldn't make any sense. She's not in charge of it, but she is like she's the elder statesman. Yeah. So like I said, lots of fucking around. We learned that Kiara or whatever, her husband is the guy from that first scene who ran away and disappeared. She thinks he's still alive. He must have gotten out somehow. No one thinks that's true, but also it's like, I don't know, man, fucking whatever. Believe what you need to believe. And she's been in there for just about a year, so that's gotta be rough. They go down one of the holes. This is like, Mina convinces, Danny to bring her down the hole, with like a rope. So she goes down, and she's really bad influence on this Danny. She's like, hey, don't you want to go down the hole? And he's like, no. And she's like, but you should anyway, because it's cool as hell. And he's like, all right, I guess. Also, he is
like
sort of
nagging him.
By the way, when we're down in the hole, we should do vapes and other drugs.
Yeah. And also, like, yeah, she's like, she's older than him, but like, yeah, we're saying he's in his 20s. Like, he's an adult. I would say he's maybe like on a spectrum or something like that, but it's never brought up in any specific way.
The way he's portrayed, I feel like he's maybe supposed to be like in his late teens, but the actor is clearly older than that. And also all the dialogue is weird and bad. So it's hard to tell how much of him seeming young is intentional.
Yeah, and you figure in a movie like that, if it was intentional, they'd bring it up a couple of times. But they don't. But whatever. So she goes into the hole, and she finds stuff. There's stuff in the hole, and it's like cool shit, including a bicycle. So she has Danny bring that up to the hole, to the surface, and then there's like some stuff happens, and she sees a hand come out to get her, and then she goes back out of the hole. She gets in a lot of trouble. Wait, yeah?
Hey, question for you guys. With the hindsight of knowing the rest of the movie and the end and all, why is that stuff in the hole?
I had no idea. No idea.
Coincidence.
Is that when the war ended or something? I guess we'll talk about that, but yeah.
Well, it can't have been that recent.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, bicycle?
A paper from like the 60s?
And then the...
was
92.
Oh, yeah, it was like 92. It was even later. There's no way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, like, with the bicycle, it makes sense. Because, like, the bicycle is going to help them escape in a way that, like, being on foot couldn't. But, yeah, a lot of it's just stuff, like a flashlight or whatever. And one of the things is a video camera. That's super handy. A video camera is extra weird because Madeline is like, where'd you find this video camera? And Dakota Fanning's like, I don't fucking know. Do whatever. I don't care. And they set it up outside to be kind of like a little like ring doorbell. And we watch it on the TV because they want to see the watchers. But then the husband, who is assumed dead, shows up and starts knocking on the door. And Kiara's like, that's my husband. And Madeline's like, it's not your husband. It's them or something. And then they ask him a question only he would recommend or remember to figure this out. It kind of fails that test. Also, he's not on camera. You can see his feet, but not his face. And then he
his
just gets dragged
bare
back
ass
out
feet
again.
because he's buck ass naked.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is, it's upsetting for our main characters. But this is where Madeline's like, oh, they're fucking with us because they're mad that we stole their bicycle or whatever. And then everybody gets in trouble. This causes there's some tension generally within the group at this point. What's going to happen next, which I think makes even less sense to me, is the boy Danny is going to lock. I mean, this is where the 5-year gap happens too. Danny locks Madeline and Mina out of the box. He like traps Madeline because he's mad at her, and then they're stuck outside for this whole thing. Which is like, we've been told that the whole movie, if you're outside during the thing, they're going to eat you or whatever. And Madeline, who has been here the whole time, presumably, has also like, I don't have a plan for this, but let's hide in this big pile of sticks. And that works. They see some guys with legs and stuff, but they don't really get a good look at these monster guys. And then they go back in and Danny lets them in. It's treated as such a big deal how far you cannot get out, because obviously they'll find you, and they don't find them, and it's all fine. This is not brought up again. No character uses this as some sort of trick, but that is part of it. At this point, the creatures are also just like breaking the walls of the thing. They're all very upset about what's going on. And this is like when our main characters are like, we probably got to do something about this, otherwise they're going to kill us. But what could they possibly do? They don't have any weapons or anything like that. But what they realize, and when they start trying to put stuff in front of a door, is there's a hatch lost underneath the table, so they can climb down into the hatch. And what could be there? But they at this point, it's like, if we don't go in the hatch, they're going to eat us when they blow up the whole building. So they go down, and what they find is some technology, some food, some sort of bunker created by someone who's been making videos, and we see the videos, and it turns out that they are of a scientist man with long hair doing exposition and explaining that he's been doing experiments and he built this place and he needed to see them or something. Watched a couple. Yeah,
I was going to just say, and this man who they call the professor, they kind of knew he existed already.
Right. The professor is his name. The name The Professor seems to be written on certain items. And because of that, they kind of figure he made it.
Yeah. And that's also the professor must have made the generator. The power is all of this.
Right. Because, it is powered and no one can figure out where it comes from.
There's lights and it makes the TV work. And
the computer that they have.
A record player.
The computer that they have down here is from the 90s or early 2000s. It's old technology, but it's not that old.
It's like an old Dell or something.
Yeah, but it has a webcam.
Windows 95.
Yeah.
And they turn it on. Okay, so it's registered as 1992. I'm looking at this now, the software at least.
Okay.
So they turn on they can't connect to the internet, but they look up all these video logs, and like you said, it's this guy doing experiments, learning about the thing, telling us all the important stuff, which we'll get to. One of the videos, he has one of the Watchers in the base, and it's kind of cornered because one of the things we learned about the Watchers is they can't leave because of sunlight. They're allergic to sunlight, like vampires. But
we've also learned what they are at this point.
That's true. So okay, so yeah. Madeline at one point is just like, I've told you the truth. I've never lied to you, but I haven't told you all the truth. They're fairies. That's what they are. And everybody's like, what does that mean? She's like, wilderness monster guys. They're of legend and they are magical and they used to live in the forest, but then they got stuck in the ground or some shit. And now they're mad and they're trapped and they're watching us because they want to learn how he acts, or something. That is what this guy is after, this professor fella. And, he seems to want to train one of them, but we don't see why. We don't see exactly what he's doing. And then he kills himself, I think, or something.
It's implied that, it's implied you talk about the professor, right?
Yeah.
He kills himself and the captive,
because he can't take both the isolation and also the guilt, because at one point he implies that he deliberately like lured people here and had them killed by the fairy so he could like observe and see what happened.
But they were also the labor, right?
Right. Yeah, they built this thing.
Which I have quite. Well, we'll get there.
I guess both of those things happened. But it doesn't matter because they were free, because it's day and they can run away. And they do know kind of what the setup's like. And one of the very important things he says in the videos is there's a boat. And if you go past point of return 134 and you follow the birds, you'll find the boat. How does he know this? Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. But they have a bird that's a little yellow canary or a parrot. So they follow the bird because it knows bird signals and bird paths.
Because that's how that works.
Because that's how it works. Yeah, that's what he meant. He didn't mean just like go where the crows go. He meant follow any bird.
Any bird.
Any bird, especially a non-native species of parrot who definitely isn't suited to this climate, let alone knows the area.
Yeah, just follow it wherever it goes into one of the holes.
I can't imagine this guy thought someone would bring a bird, like a different bird. If anything, he probably thought they would capture a bird there and make it a pet or something. And like, yeah, that will work. But no, she brings a bird. Now you're probably wondering, wait a second. They've been here for 5 months. The bird has been here for 5 months. They're having trouble with food and stuff. Nobody ever ate the bird. No, they never ate the bird. They never even thought about it.
I mean, how much are you getting from that bird?
Well, when you're starving, DJ?
Day 2. Yeah. I'm eating it because I don't want to hear it's yapping anymore, first of all. But second.
Especially because the thing this parrot has learned to say is try not to die, which would be the single most annoying thing to hear over and over again in this scenario.
Try not to die. Try not to die.
So our characters make it to the water. They find a boat. The 3 women get in the boat and start figuring it out. But then Danny is tricked by something in the forest. And it turns out it's one of the Watchers has tricked Danny into thinking that it's the husband, John, that had gone missing. Danny's like, I found him. But then everybody's like, no, that's one of the Watchers. And then it kills Danny. And then it kind of not assimilates Danny, but like becomes Danny. Ooh. And then a bunch of them come out of the forest, but because they are in the water, it's cool. Like they're good. So they just row away. They're found by a bunch of people on like a tour bus or some shit and go home. You would assume from this point on, these characters live a normal life. Like they just go back to work and their families and friends. I've seen M Night Shyamalan movies before. I was convinced this bus was filled with them. This bus was filled with Watchers that had successfully done this, but no, it's just a bus. Whatever. So they get in the bus. Everybody tries to get their lives back in order. They mostly do. They have to go check on some stuff because they still have all their traumas and whatever. Oh yeah, and we learned that what's her name caused a car crash because she was acting up with their mom. So Dakota Fanning, the reason that she has all this trauma is because she was being a real pain. And it caused a car accident. Mom died. But then she goes back to visit some of the professor's stuff because I guess that was something they said they were going to do or something. It doesn't matter. And she finds all kinds of scrolls and information about halflings. Ooh, the halfling dilemma. What could those be? And it turns out that maybe what if people thought you could
meet
Frodo
and Sam?
You would think so, right? And at that point in the movie, I was like, oh, I guess that is what they mean. But no, it's like some sort of hybrid between the people and the guys, the Watchers. Then she finds in his study or in a book or something, a picture of his dead wife. What? And his dead wife is the lady Matilda or Madeline or whatever. And it looks like the fakest picture I've ever fucking seen. I don't know if you guys it's hard to Photoshop pictures like this together. But we could do this pretty well if we tried, at least this well, but whatever. So she goes and finds Kira, who she knows where her house is. And she goes to her and she's like, hey, look, Madeline is one of them. But then, Kira comes home from being outside. But wait a second, she was inside. But wait a second, that means it's not Kira. That's a Watcher. And then it's the main Watcher that's Madeline, who's some sort of daywalker, a term she uses, even though you got to assume they know what Blade is. And that's kind of something people will take as silly.
Unfortunately, no one ever threw a DVD copy of Blade into the hole.
Why would? It's such a good movie, Although the Irish, would the Irish people like Blade because he's Stephen Dorff? Is he like a hot property or do they all hate him so much? Maybe. that they're like, no one ever watches Blade in the Ireland.
I feel like they must love movies about killing pale, blood-sucking parasites because it reminds them of fighting the British.
That's true.
Yeah, that tracks.
However, in the comics, they never do this in the movies. Blade is British. So maybe he is kind of treated as a hero of Britain, and why would you even watch a movie with him in it? Little do they know, he's always an American, so might as well, just give up on that. But then she, for reasons we'll get to, which are weird, they convince the fairy that she is a halfling herself, which you have to assume she expected, but I guess didn't. She grows wings and flies away. Then Mina goes home, meets with her sister, who she hasn't talked to or seen since the funeral or whatever. Didn't go to the funeral, but like has a strange relationship with, even though her sister has 2 sons. And then they are like, everything's cool. And then she looks outside and sees the little girl that's supposed to be Madeline. And then the Watchers comes back on screen again, the title again.
Whoa, spooky.
Yeah, so like Madeline seems to survive and just goes off and to do her thing, live her life, live her best life, I guess. That's pretty much it. Did I miss anything?
That's pretty good.
The main thrust of it.
Good summary.
Yeah, I feel like there might be something in the beginning bit that I forgot, but I don't care because it's not very important. Nothing that happens is interesting. But you guys,
that's true.
Yeah, you know what there is, and there's one of these in the thing. There's one of these in the base because you have to turn it to make the base open. A wheel.
Oh my God.
I have things on this wheel. Do you guys want to look at them?
I would love to, please. But only in order after they spin around a little.
Of course, yeah. We will spin the wheel. So I'm going to spin it. Tick, 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 tick. Okay, I landed on one of Diggins's. This is a good one. This is just women will literally say exposition to a parrot rather than going to therapy. Let's talk about the exposition in this movie. It's in it, isn't it?
Oh, I was going to say a good 70% of the dialogue.
Yeah.
This does the classic tell, don't show. Mm-hmm. Although they do some show, but they do a lot of telling prior to the show.
Yeah, and also after the showing.
And usually while they're showing, characters are also telling what the showing is. Like, there's narration of the telling.
It's tell and show and then tell more. It's a nice show sandwich with big, thick pieces of tell bread in between that show.
I love my tell bread thick.
Thick tell bread.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's...
and there's lots of examples of this. I do think the most preposterous are the first ones with the parrot, where Dakota Fanning goes to the parrot and is like, I don't care if I live or die, parrot. My mom has died 15 years ago and I'm still sad about it. Also, I don't talk to my sister. And then later, after she does her dressing up as someone else to hook up with someone thing, she looks at the parrot and is like, what, parrot? No one could ever love me, so I pretend to be a different person. It all makes sense.
Yep. Man.
Everything adds up.
You'd figure by the end of this movie, this parrot's going to be saying a couple of things, like anything. It's going to have learned some words.
It has. But try not to die.
Just that,
try not to die. Yeah.
Because the guy said it once when she was about to take the parrot out. It's good for the trailer.
She says it to the parrot before she goes out to have anonymous wig sex.
That's right.
How do you think that anonymous wig sex is?
It's got to be pretty good, right?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably okay. It's anonymous, and to be fair, the guy thinks that she's not from there. He's like, "You're not from here, are you?" Which you would think if you saw her, or didn't. Like, she is from there. Is it the black hair? Does no one from black hair go to Ireland anymore?
I don't remember if he says it right away or if it's only after she starts talking. She does have an American accent.
Right. And has she lived in Ireland her whole life?
I don't think so. I think she is supposed to be American because her sister also has an American accent. And is also Dakota Fanning.
Are they on?
So, can we talk about that real quick? Why didn't they get another actress? So at the end of the movie, they come together as the sisters, and it's also Dakota Fanning. Why?
Twins, my man.
I mean,
But
yeah,
why?
for a while in the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, is it because she's a twin? We're going to find out all of them are identical twins or something. And that's part of it. So I guess if you want to be generous, it's for some sort of misdirect later. But I don't know, man. They have to hire two actors.
There's
to have
literally
two
only
actors.
like 5 actors in the entire movie, so it
Yeah.
genuinely may have been a budget constraint.
There's a
I
couple
think
extras in there.
there are a couple extras. A bus driver, but that might have been a real bus driver. You know, maybe they put those guys on a bus.
And also,
They
there
just
are
got a bus
times
driver.
where they hilariously avoid hiring an extra, like the taxi cab near the end.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, I feel like this character has a lot of crazy exposition. Obviously, the main character will give us, or like Madeline will give us a shitload of exposition later. I'm trying to think, was there anything specifically, any other weird ones that stuck out to you besides the computer guy later? But
there were definitely some other I think the one where it seems like Kiara's gonna like commit suicide for a little bit, where she's like,
yeah, oh
Yeah.
I
that,
feel sad
yeah.
because my husband's gone, so maybe I should be with him because he got dragged in the hole. And it's like,
yeah.
all right. I mean, don't do that, but
Right.
I don't really feel like you need to say all that out loud. I think we got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I
that's-
think
that's a
they're-
good point.
These guys all just seem so cool with the whole thing. Like nobody seems to have a problem being trapped until that one moment. So I do think it almost feels out of character for her because the movie doesn't work.
I disagree, Nando. It would, to feel out of character, she would have to have a character to be out of.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Because she is getting a character, that makes it out of character for having no character. It's in of character, if anything, but it's still it's a problematic thing for this movie to be.
I see what you're saying.
I think for me, the
tracks.
worst exposition in this movie had to have come at the very end when she goes into the office and just reads all his books and shit. That was incredible. That there was more exposition from that point forward.
Yeah,
So
that
I was
was
like, of course
stupid.
we're going to find a picture of the wife and it's going to be her or something. But no, scrolls, a paper, just so much shit.
Well, because we haven't seeded the idea of half-human hybrids at all at this
Yeah.
point. So we got to shove that all in right before the twist so it'll make sense for a given value of sense.
It's insane.
It is insane.
Yeah, I do think this feels a lot like the worst Shyamalan because that's how a lot of that goes too. It's just like even with old, it just never stops. Characters just sit down and go, I'm a police officer because I believe this, this, and this, and I'm from here. And you're like, yeah, people only talk like that here. But we'll get to it because there's a couple other examples of that on the wheel. You guys, I spun the wheel again. Landed on one of
Tick,
mine.
tick, 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 tick.
Excited about tick, 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 tick. That's what it sounded like when I did it. I spun it right over. See, Mortimer's in front of the camera right now. Or not camera, in front of the microphone. So he blocked.
Oh, okay.
But here's the here's one of mine. Oh, wait, where did the car go? The car. Forest isn't magic. Like
Fair.
it's a little
But
bit
the forest
magical.
is magic.
The force,
But, like,
It is though.
But you can technically leave it by just going
Isn't
in the
it?
right
Yeah.
direction,
Force
right?
is
Like,
magic.
It like turns them around and stuff.
but does it? Like, what? Then why
Yeah, no.
why are they able to escape?
We see at the beginning that John like runs past the point of no return sign because he's trying to get out, but then he just passes it again because the magic forest won't let him leave.
But then why are they able to escape later?
Because that's
Because they drew on the trees, and that was their waypoints.
well, no, it was
so they
the idea is that the path that the birds take that leads you through the forest to the boat is like the one path that would work.
it's the anti-magic path.
Apparently, yeah.
It's the one true
That bit-
path.
That whole bit blew my mind. When it wasn't a magic forest.
I mean, I
But,
don't
like-
think it's ever revealed that it's not a magic forest. I think they just explain what the magic is.
Yeah, I guess. So when she drives into the house or drives into the forest, her phone goes on the fritz a little bit, like a TV or something, and then little runes come up. So there's like a
Yes.
magical rune force field around the forest. It seems like, or
Yeah.
something.
Or
crazy, right?
there's some sort of shark nearby who disrupts all electronics.
But makes it runes? Maybe that's probably what it is. Actually, Yeah.
That will happen in Under Paris too, It turns out the
I was
sharks
gonna
are
say, yeah,
masters of rune magic.
under Dublin or something.
Yeah,
Or under,
we go.
you know, one of these places.
Under Galway.
Yeah, very, very weird.
It is very weird.
She never got that car back, you know?
No.
What do you think she said?
That's true, yeah. I guess she had to buy a new one or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
The logistics of having to come back from the dead must have been so annoying.
that's the thing I always think about, like in a movie where someone is gone for a long time and gets declared legally dead. It's like having that reversed is a nightmare.
Yeah. Like, that really stinks.
It's weird. It's extra weird because, like, she was doing work for it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and she had a phone, you know?
I mean,
They could track her, I'm sure.
Presumably she took the phone with her, right? Because you don't just leave your phone in your
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Even if you do, the phone, even if you leave the phone in the car, there's a record of when the phone stopped being a phone and started being runes and stuff, I would assume, that they can use to find her.
The cell phone company goes, this is crazy, but the phone became runes.
Yeah,
We don't know what that means, but the phone became runes.
Also, come to think of it, if this is a magic forest that anyone who goes in it gets trapped, how'd they build a road through it in the first place?
Good question. I don't know.
Maybe that's part of the magic. They're like, oh, if we put a road here, then
I mean,
some-
the answer that I would accept that the movie never provides is basically like, it's not everyone who gets trapped. Only certain people end up getting trapped here.
right.
And the benefit of it being just like bullshit fairy magic is like, it doesn't have to make logical sense. It's fairy magic.
Yeah.
That's like the point,
Yeah.
is that it's sort of mysterious.
And bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, like, what she drives to the forest, there's, like, papers of missing people, like, lots and lots
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
What happened to them?
They got,
Like,
they got Ed up.
And nobody's figured out what's going on in this forest? They all must go to the same place, I assume. Or at least the same vicinity.
They just think it's like that cave that people go in and die. Where it's like, just a dangerous forest. Just don't go in there.
Yeah.
Stay out. This is a problem.
I guess that's the thing that this is missing, right? Is one guy saying, like, she's like, oh, I want to get there in time. Oh, you shouldn't take that route because it's the dangerous forest. And she's like, fuck it, I'm busy. But they just skipped that part.
That's true.
Yeah.
That would be here in the generic version of this movie.
Mm-hmm. He would be at that gas station that she's at for 1 second for no reason.
Yeah,
That was a good
so she
shot,
could see
yeah.
the missing people sign. Yeah, no, we
Yeah,
even did the whole thing in Cabin in the Woods like a decade ago, where they're like, there has to be the person who tells you the thing is dangerous, don't go in, that you ignore. That's what makes it a horror movie.
Mm-hmm. But nah, screw it.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. That's what they do.
Also,
it's fun to go
Galway
again.
and Belfast
Tick,
are like...
tick, 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 tick.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Galway and Belfast are like major cities in Ireland. So like... And presumably she's taking just like the direct route, right? So like...
Yeah.
Does everybody who tries to drive from Galway to Belfast get stuck in this magic forest?
That's another good question.
Is it only if you do it at night?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, you already spun the wheel. Tick, 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 tick. So what did it come up
I
on?
did spin the wheel. You all heard the ticking. I spun it to one of DJs, having to watch the same reality show over and over again.
Oh my god.
That's an interesting
So-
detail, isn't it?
So, DJ, why in the middle of this, I was talking about this movie, did you want to describe your own personal hell?
Yeah, because I felt seen when I saw them having to watch this reality show. It seemed to be like some kind of Big Brother show, but Ireland. And wasn't that telling? A Big Brother type show.
Whoa, they were watching a
Ooh.
show
Wait.
about a bunch of people being trapped in a house and mysterious, invisible other people are watching them the whole time?
I read it as more of a Love Island show. Is that not what you
Well,
thought?
but like both.
It's kind of
right?
a
'Cause
mixture.
It's like,
Feels like couples are
yeah,
part
like,
of it,
real worldy.
but also
yeah.
it's all a house.
Yeah. And the being watched, right? And like what I couldn't okay, part of this is the fairies want to watch them to like become them is like kind of the right idea, right? because they envy humans, I guess, in this like weird.
I don't think it's envy so much as they want to learn how to imitate humans, so if they ever get out, they can like infiltrate society.
Us. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. But so that's the deal. So they have a TV. And I guess, like, all of this was provided by the professor, right?
In fact, she looks at the back of the DVD and it says property of Professor R.K.
Right.
So, like, all of this to say is, like, why this? Why the reality TV show? Like, it gets to a point where they're, like, quoting the show at the end after they've been there for, like, 8 months or whatever, or 8 more months. And I'm just like, why? Why this? This seems like an odd choice, Professor. Is it because you wanted, like, it's I don't know, is this what you thought the watchers wanted in some, like, weird fucked up scenario?
He also thought it would be a powerful metaphor for what was happening in the coop.
Yeah.
Feels on the nose.
In this movie? No.
Yeah. Honestly, when they started showing that show, and because I kept going, do you remember in the first scene where the guy, Jonathan or Jason or whatever, gets eaten up, dragged into the hole?
Gets ed up.
Right before he does that. Yeah. Right before that happens, he says, like, wait, that's not possible. But, like, in a really matter-of-fact way, not like it's a monster, but like it's something else that he should recognize or something. Part of me thought it was them. It was the reality show guys or something. And this was I didn't know how this made any sense. Like, my mind couldn't figure it out, but I was like, well, there's got to be a reason why this is here. Besides just a symbol, right? Like, this has to be something.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been like Unhinged if that was the twist, that the people in the reality show are secret monsters that are keeping you trapped in this forest.
Right.
But it needed a more unhinged twist, right? Like, that's what we were lacking.
I mean, and that's like, in my head, what happened was the monsters created the reality TV show to trick them into doing something or acting in a certain way or something like that. Like,
I love this.
It didn't make any sense.
Well, a lot of this movie doesn't exactly make sense now, does it?
Yeah. This movie's pretty cool.
We all like it.
It's got a lot of fake bullshit.
Do you think this reality show would be good?
I might watch it.
So
I'm
let's try to like reverse
kind of
engineer it. From what we can see, it's kind of Big Brothery in that they get a bunch of people who just have to live in a house together. But it seems like they have to pick a partner amongst the people in the house. And then the competition from that point forward is couples.
Yes.
That's what Love Island is. Like, what you're describing is Love Island.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right, if you say so. I've never watched.
I mean, I guess every reality television show, in a way, is Big Brothery in that everyone was watching. The novelty of, like, Big Brother, it's like, oh, for the first time ever, it's people just being watched. Da, 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 da. But that wasn't exactly true.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be the really special reality show would be the one nobody gets to see or something like that, you know? We'll never even hear about that.
You know, because that's when people stopped being polite and started being real.
That's right. Yeah.
Sure. You know? That's what really blew people away about that.
Have you guys ever watched that documentary about that one guy in like Japan or something whose life they ruined?
No.
I don't remember his name.
You're going to have to be more specific.
Crazy story. So,
what did they ruin?
He's a reality show contestant. That's kind of the pitch. He's a guy who thought he was getting on a reality show, and technically it kind of was or whatever, where he just lived in a room by himself and had to call or do sweepstakes for to win stuff in magazines, and then he would get those things and he would buy his freedom. And he started it like naked and just in this room by himself, and it drove him insane. And he didn't think it was on air, but it turned out it was on air, and he was a huge kind of like it's like a worst case scenario kind of Black Mirror version of one of these. It's crazy. You should I don't remember what it's called, but it's that guy. I think it's called The Contestant or something like that.
That seems like a real bummer.
It is a bummer, but it's better than watching this. So, you know,
so it's impossible to say if it's bad or not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this movie's bad. All right, let's talk about the next thing on the wheel. I'm going to spin the wheel.
I mean, not rejoin. We've been here the whole time.
Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah, what a continuation of exactly what we were saying before with no interruptions.
That's right. And Diggins, it landed on one of yours, actually. Metaphor is a literary device. Let's talk about it.
So we've kind of sprinkled this in throughout the entire movie, but there's a lot of metaphors in this movie. A lot of very obvious on-the-nose metaphors for the situation, but also, if you think about them more than the surface level, like this is like their situation, it's not really a lot there, is there?
No, nothing.
Thin, very thin.
There's some metaphors for there's metaphors for more interesting movies that we'll never see.
We've got like the parrot, right? First one that is in the bird cage, and it's like, oh, in a cage like they are. And then you think about it, like, what more is there to that?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. And then there's the reality show, and it's like, oh, like them being watched, but like, there's a lot of things you could say about reality shows and their exploitative nature. It doesn't really have anything to do with the actual monsters and their like goals. They're not like reality TV show audiences. Unless, DJ, do you mainly watch reality TV so you can learn to imitate the people in it so you can one day escape from the magical forest you're trapped in and take over their lives?
It's only true for the traders. I watch the traders being like, I need to be exactly like this so I can figure out how to get out of this situation. So
that's okay.
Can you do, so, because obviously it's mostly figuring out an accent. Can you do a wonderful Alan Cumming accent about his Scottish? Because he loves to talk in that show, and it's great. He's got a wonderful voice. Welcome to the traitors.
You're in a mansion, my beautiful mansion, and one of you has committed murder. It's up to the faithful to figure out who amongst you is the murderer.
My God, Count Dracula, when did you get here?
Oh, come on!
Mm-hmm.
Come on!
No, I like the beginning of it. I thought that was promise.
Did it taper off? Is that the problem?
I think not hearing him say traitors every 5 seconds is what lost me.
He says it a lot.
You know, he really says it a lot. And for the only one episode I've seen, it's like, I make some of you my traitors, and then you'll go and be traitors to all the non-traitors. It's just like, man, you're getting paid by the traitors over here.
You both get so Eastern European when you try to do Scottish. It's crazy.
It's not my fault. That's Alan Cumming's fault.
I know. Here, Diggins, you haven't seen the trailers, but that's what he sounds like, and it's this very low whisper. All right, my faithful. Also, you can get the shield, and if you get the shield, then you'll have immunity from tonight's vote and murder.
Where is he from in real life?
Now,
he's not Scottish, right?
Could be good. Alan Cumming is from Scotland, right? Not from Serbia?
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes,
we're going to Google it now and find out. He is Scottish, yeah.
At one time, I'm sure Scotland's most eligible bachelor. I'm sure.
Wait, no, he was born... Well, let's see.
Oh, was he born in Latvia?
He was born in Scotland.
Does that explain this?
No. He was born in Scotland.
Fine. You know, Diggins, you do an Alan Cumming. You love to talk about Cumming.
I don't know what he sounds like. I
just do Nightcrawler from X-Men. That's more or less
Yeah, Scottish Nightcrawler. Scottish circus.
He's being German in that movie.
Yeah.
He does do a good job.
He's Rebecca Romaine's son in that movie, hypothetically. You know? But he was raised by the devil guy. We'll probably find that out in Deadpool. Maybe he'll say it. I don't know. That'd be a funny thing for him to make a little joke about. What was I going to say?
So neat.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that's not true anymore.
Exactly. Deadpool would love to make a little cut up about that, you know? You're his dad. Not anymore, though, because of the comics. Here, let me show you the comics or something. And then he shows you his butt instead.
Is that storyline where the evil group tried to make Nightcrawler Pope so he would teleport away and all the Catholics would think the rapture happened still canon?
I don't know. I don't know this. I don't know which story you're talking about. It's a pretty good story, though.
It's pretty much just the thing I just said. Which doesn't really make any sense when you consider that Catholics don't believe in the rapture.
And that people know who Nightcrawler is, you know? Like, I feel like he's a public figure. So if that happened, you'd be like, oh, that's just Nightcrawler.
He just does that.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, yeah, mutants, right. Even if that happened, if we had mutants in the rapture happen, I think that was what it was first. I'd be like, oh, this is a mutant thing. That makes sense.
Fair. Or Thanos did some fucking bullshit again.
Yep. But no, I'd say there's probably something to do with Spider-Man, I think. That would be my first words out of my mouth.
And then I'd go look for Morbius, the living vampire.
Yeah, he's so cool. What else was weird about this movie? Let's see. Let me spin the wheel again. Unless any other metaphors were in this, there were a couple. I feel like, and I can't remember what they were.
More. I mean, twins are kind of a metaphor. Her disguising herself as other people to go hook up with random Irishmen.
Yeah,
is kind of a metaphor.
Yeah.
The thing about the metaphors again,
in mirrors.
Yeah, the thing about the metaphors again is that there's pure surface level. So like, there's a lot of them in here because no thought had to be put into them beyond like that's kind of like being trapped somewhere.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, it is pretty insane to me that this character throughout the whole course of the movie keeps the bird. Doesn't like learn a lesson and let the bird be free, you know?
That's true. That would have been how it ended. Or it's like, so she lets go of the bird to get them to the boat, even though that's not how that works at all. And then she's like, it would be weird if it was something like really on the nose where like the bird was on the boat and like tilting its head. And she's like, I understand. You've helped me get this far. Now go, be free. And then the bird flies away and like freezes to death because it's winter time and like definitely wouldn't.
And it's a tropical bird, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, I mean, all of that except the part where she says things out loud does happen in the movie. Like, she does wake up on the boat and the bird is there and like tilts its head at her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't like, don't take anything from that.
And then she's just like, all right, I guess this is my bird now.
I guess I'm thinking more like, you know, day 2, you're like, at least I could let the bird go, you know? But she's like, this is my bird. I mean, technically I own it. So why am I going to throw it away? Having so much fun.
I mean, I would imagine beyond, like, for the first few days, you'd be like, all right, I'll get out of this in a few days. And then I go deliver this bird to the zoo like I'm supposed to. It'll be a little late, but whatever. But yeah, once you hit like the month mark, it's like, why am I keeping this bird? They don't think I'm bringing it anymore. Who cares?
Yeah, they probably got plenty of birds already that they've replaced it with.
Yeah.
Plenty of golden conch. Also, they're a vulnerable species, so it would be irresponsible to kill it.
By the way, imagine a version of this movie, because the try not to die thing she like does like before getting captured. Imagine if she delivers that bird and it's like, try not to die. And they're like, what the hell did you do to my bird?
This is a zoo bird. You can't say that. What are we going to do? Kill it. And they just snap its little neck or something. No, don't kill the bird. It was telling us not to die. It wasn't telling us not to kill it, though. That's fair. That's a wrinkle. You've solved the riddle of the bird.
Yeah. Does that count as another metaphor? The bird saying try not to die?
How's that a metaphor?
It's not really a metaphor, I guess. It's more of a irony, I guess.
Yeah. Was there a song that she was listening to on the radio that was a metaphor? I bet that was something.
I wasn't paying attention to the songs.
What other metaphors were there?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was probably it.
I think
those are all of them.
It's weird, like, looking back, just what this movie, like, what would the metaphor for this be if you had to come up with a good metaphor for it?
Like the movie?
You know?
Like lab rats, right? We study them in order to learn about ourselves. So, like, they're studying us to try to figure things out.
That was old, though, right? Because they were the lab rats in old.
That's true. They were the lab rats in old. A lot of M Night Shyamalan movies turns out to be the lab rats, kind of, you know? It's kind of what the village is.
But not the village, weirdly.
No, not the village, yeah. But it's like, I guess a lot of M Night Shyamalan movies are like, that's actually a secret place that's separated from everything else, but everything's over there is special. Do you think if you got into this situation, what would you do?
Oh, I was gonna say die. I would die. Oh, this is fun. I don't know if this is on the wheel, but like, could Nando beat it?
Yeah, I think so. Right, for sure.
All right.
Once we learn that we can hide in smelly things and we're fine, then I'd do that. Like,
but she was keeping her safe because she was one of them. Like, that wasn't actually true, right?
Well, I think she just knew that they wouldn't be able to find her if they hid in a place that smelled properly. Right?
Yeah, I mean, she did, like, it's not like she was, like, talking to the other ones and were like, hey, be cool, Okay, just be cool.
Yeah.
Like it really did. They really were hiding.
Oh, interesting. I thought that was the vibe that it was like kind of like a plan, kinda.
No, because she was doing a thing separate from the rest of them.
Yeah, and it can't be a plan because that's when they get locked out because the kid goes rogue.
Yeah, and like they don't really like her from the sound of it because she is
she's a freak. She is a freak.
Yeah, she's a daywalker.
Yeah.
An uncool thing to be.
Yeah,
but
we don't like those daywalkers around here.
I do feel like once we go do that, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's like cover ourselves in something no one can smell. And then just go for it. I also think if I'm me, and this is just me being like a person that lives in 24, I would I would look for all the shit. I'd look under the rug to see if there's secret stuff. Like I'd follow little power lines down to the secret generators or whatever. Like maybe I wouldn't be able to fully dig them up, but I'd be like, there's no curiosity with these people.
It's crazy how long it takes them to find the safe that's just under the rug, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think if anything, I'd get bored doing my drawings and I'd be like, we got to move the rug. And then I'd move it and I'd be, oh yeah, look at that.
It's true around the rug the whole time.
You would rearrange the room just so things would be different sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you wouldn't go crazy. Yeah, they do have a really strange lack of curiosity about this situation. At no point is anyone like, who the fuck
and it's
built
weird because
this
they have
bunker?
the little points of no return.
Yeah.
Like
What is powering it? There's electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they say that. She's like, someone's like, there's probably a generator. And they go, that's interesting. And then move on. Like, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, I don't know if I could beat the Watchers because they can kill us real well.
Yeah.
And drag us down to their holes.
Yeah.
I do think I wouldn't fall for them being like, it's me, the person. I'd be like, well, it's not though, right? Like, come on.
No,
obviously not.
I do think like the her like question thing, I'd be like, we're not letting him in if he asks, even if he gets it right? Like this is just, an excuse because we still think he's mind controlled or something. There's got to be something going on. But,
I mean, presumably she tells her to do that because, as we later learn, she knows that it wouldn't have his knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, we're in a fucking magic forest. Of course you don't open the door for the thing that looks like your husband. Have you ever read a story?
Yeah.
You idiot.
I also think, here's how quickly I think I'd figure this out. When I'm driving through the forest and my radio turns off and I look at it just to see what's going on. And then when it's runes, I'd be like, no, thank you. This is an evil forest.
Once I see runes, I'm out. But
I feel like by the time you see runes, it's too late.
It's too late. Once you've seen
she
runes,
has like a second.
Forest.
She could have reacted to it and she didn't. And
just like put the car in reverse and just start driving in reverse and hoping you're okay.
Well, that's the other thing. I would have left the bird in the car, Why wouldn't you? A, it's heavy. B, then you can hear it and find the car again in case you get lost.
See, I wouldn't have because I would be worried if it's a long walk that it would like die of heat or something.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, you crack a window or whatever. I don't know. But
yeah, it's obviously been there. It's no worries.
Fine. Just be like, oh yeah, it died on the way. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's a bird. Who knows? Things happen.
Again, they're vulnerable. You could be legally prosecuted for being negligent in the care of that bird.
It's true. What else would I do that they never do? Come up with a weapon. Nobody ever tries to fashion a weapon.
Yeah.
To fight these things.
Well, at the very beginning, John has a knife.
Right, yeah. And they must have a bunch of knives, right? Because they're cutting up dead animals to eat. How are they doing that? Yeah.
And I would think somebody... I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm really involved in this world, so I don't know if this is a thing you guys know or the average person would know. As soon as she's like, they're fairies, I'd be like, oh, so like, let's get some iron. Fairies hate iron.
But like, is that true for all fairies? Do all fairies hate iron?
Listen, man, if somebody tells me we're being kept in a magic forest by fucking fairies, then I'm gonna try the iron.
Yeah. No, I don't know that like as well as you do, but I do think I'd I think once the word fairy gets thrown out, there'd be a lot of new strategies we would be trying to figure out. I do think the other thing is I'd just ask more questions about the old lady. We'd figure out her deal as a group.
Well, yeah, I mean, as an audience member, you know that she's a fairy. Like when you first learn about fairies, it's like, oh, she's one of them.
Yeah, because she's like, I didn't tell anybody about this, but I know there's fairies. You'd be like, good, you've gotten that information from us. But I feel like I would have to establish a timeline of like, how long have you been here? How long have you been here? Which one of you here is first? Like, how did you get stuck in here? Right. And eventually some of the stories would start to kind of unravel. Even though she doesn't fully know, or maybe she does know, but it seems like she doesn't remember everything or something like that. Did you get that sense, or?
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Because you don't know what she's like lying about or telling the truth about. Is like the truth.
And what's just bad writing.
Yeah. It feels like when she gets back into the cave or the bunker, she has a bunch of memories. She's like, oh, right, this. And I do think before that, she knew there were fairies, but maybe didn't know how they worked or something.
But she's one of them, so she has to know.
She definitely knew she was a fairy the whole time.
Did she?
Yeah, so the timeline is, like, if we go from, she gets captured by the professor. Professor tries to kill her. Or, well, no, Professor tries to turn her into his dead wife.
Yes.
Succeeds to some extent.
I don't know how much he intentionally did that versus how much, but whatever. Basically, he tries to build a rapport with the creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And succeeds.
Yeah. But then at some point, she takes the form of his dead wife. She tries to kill her, but it doesn't work, and he kills himself, or she kills him, whatever.
No. He decides that this whole thing is fucked up, and he's got to end it. Okay. So he's going to kill her and then himself, but he fucks it up, doesn't kill her, and she kills him.
Then she decides, I'm going to use the bunker for the fairies, and I'm going to lure people here. And then that's kind of where we get to where we are now, right? But it's so obvious she's a fairy from an audience perspective, from like, I don't know, as soon as she says there's fairies, it's like, oh, you're one of them.
As soon as the thing is, these things can turn into human beings. It's like, okay, well, then a person here is a fairy, and there's one obvious candidate.
Yeah, and it's you. Yeah.
I feel very unclear to the extent of which the other fairies are actively trying to kill her versus not.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
This is why I'm not convinced she knows what's going on fully. I think I could see a version of this movie where she gets freed. Like, I could see a version of this movie where he tricks her into thinking she's the wife, which I don't think makes a lot of sense. But, like, being, down there in the bunker, she, like, loses her mind like he does. And then she, like, just shows up in the forest, finds the bunker again, and is like, oh, I must be from here. Because how could she not know she's a daywalker?
She does know.
She does, yeah.
Right, but then how is there a revelation at the end of the movie that she doesn't?
I guess the idea is none of the other fairies ever tell her how someone is a daywalker. They're just like, you're a daywalker, and that's weird, and we don't like it.
Yeah, free.
And so she doesn't know that the reason that a fairy is a daywalker is because they're half human.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I guess that was my confusion. And that was my confusion because I also did think she was his daughter. It didn't make any sense, but that was when it seemed like you could be half human. I was like, well, that. I mean,
I feel like her being the daughter makes way more sense in this, like, for the story. Like, not in the story that gets told because it's not written with that in mind, but like, if you were rewriting this, it's like, well, that feels like what it would be. And then she hates humans because her human dad killed himself and her mom.
Right, exactly.
Right, or she's the daughter and just gets dropped off in the woods and doesn't know she's a fairy because she just gets left there and assumes she's a human or something like that. And then figures it out as the movie goes along. Like,
but
because she says she hasn't lied to them, and it's like, of course she has.
Yeah, well, she's 100%. Lying about not lying.
Well, here's the thing: is no one ever. Nando, how many times in your life has a person come up to you and said, like, "So you're human, right? You're a human being." So, like,
every day,
you don't have to lie about that because no one would ask.
Yeah,
every single day. I think you'd have, but the asks her other questions like, where are you from? And she says, I'm from here or something. Like she gives explanations about her life that are full lies.
But also, when she says, I haven't lied to you, that's just also a lie.
Yeah, I mean, that is a lie. It's just 'cause the movie's
She's
not
just
that
still
interesting.
lying.
But, mm-hmm.
We don't have to take that at face value.
So
yeah.
her goal, though, is that she's like, I do what they do, but I want to do it up close. I was watching you from inside the cage. But, like, that's it, right? She has no further motive. She's not like, I'm going to get out of the forest. They all want to get out of the forest. They just don't think that there's a way. But why does she want to?
Because they all want to. They all want... If you were trapped in a forest for 1 billion years, wouldn't you want to leave?
Okay. So they all want to leave, but camp, and she
in the
can't,
forest too, right? Kind of.
What was that?
Yeah.
Aren't they imprisoned in the forest? Like they want to get revenge on the people, kind of?
Yeah.
I got that. That was the sense I got.
They want to get revenge on humans, but they can't leave because of the ancient curse. But because she's half human, she can leave.
Is she the only half human?
Seems like it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, well, it's weird because they're changelings, right? That's the other word they use to describe them, which I think fits better than fairies, but whatever.
Which is a different thing, but whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Completely different. But, and I think that's kind of, I would imagine when they wrote the movie, that's what it was or something.
Or the book.
Or the book, right. Sure. Yeah.
Well, changeling is a full fairy that just gets exchanged at birth with a human being.
Right. If you're the fairies,
your baby is now a fairy,
the fairies
you
get
don't
the
know
boy,
it, and your actual baby is being raised off in fairyland.
Right, because there's one of those in the Hellboy movie we all liked. It's in there.
That's true.
But wait, if you're the fairies and you steal the boy and you steal his identity, does only one of you get to be him, or are you all just going to be him now? Like 50 of him's going to walk out of the forest together once they can figure out how.
That's a good question.
Presumably, if you've watched other people in the past 5 billion years or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I guess they're immortal. I guess they just live forever.
Yeah. They have all their fairy properties, including immortality, except they lost their wings and they're uggos now. But besides that, they're fairies.
Mm-hmm.
Were they always uggos, though? I think they were always, like, kind of alien-looking guys.
But they were pretty or something.
Well, it's not
why
clear
would human mate with them?
Listen. People would fuck anything if you give them half a chance. No, I mean, the only thing we have to go off of is like old, like medieval drawings, right? Or probably earlier than medieval.
Yeah. And
so, like, we don't know how accurate those really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I feel like they even get a little bit of this in Artemis Fowl, like that one. The fairies in that is just like a really general term that covers like dwarves and elves and all that shit. They're just fairies. True. So like, I do feel like this movie seems to be going for something closer to changelings, but just the word fairy is used to explain them because that is like a word, like guys.
Well,
or people.
They're really just going in general for like the British conception of like the Fae, the old like British mythological conception of that, which is more dangerous, still like kind of like whimsical, but very like amoral and capricious in a way that's often bad for the people in those stories.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just straight up like monsters who will eat people, but you know.
Yeah.
They only eat the ground and then poop the ground out their butts.
That's right.
He's a fairy.
Just like
he could have shown up
Gad.
here. Yeah. Where was he during all of this? Suspicious. I'm going to spin the wheel again. Tick, 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 tick. It landed on one of Diggins is moving forward a little bit, but this is something that's very important. This is the fakest rowing you've ever seen. That bit was funny, wasn't it?
Oh my God. So they get out on a boat, on a rowboat, because the fairies can't cross the water because the water's not in the forest anymore. So as soon as they get off shore, the fairies can't stop them. So they get in a little rowboat. And I mean, another red flag they probably should have noticed. They let the old woman do all the rowing. You guys ever been in a rowboat?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, a canoe, but same thing.
You ever rowed a boat?
I've canoed.
I guess similar principle. Rowing a boat is hard work.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Because you have the weight of all the people in it. Makes it heavy.
Even if you're just rowing yourself, it's heavy. It's hard.
Yeah, you are heavy. Every person is heavy.
So, like, first of all, the fact that this old woman can do this just fine, probably a red flag. Secondly, the way she rows is so transparently bad. It's so obvious that the actress doesn't know how to row, and so she's just kind of, like, faking it. Because the way she does it is she just takes the paddles, she, like, moves them up, and then moves them back down. And just does that over and over again, like very listlessly. There's no circular motion. There's no, like, she's not like really pulling at all. It's not strenuous. Looks so bad.
I was watching this with Michelle, and there were like a couple things that like she pointed like, oh, that's done this or whatever. The rowing, she's like, this is not acceptable. Like they have to go redo that. They have to reshoot the movie and put better rowing in it. Have AI do
that's
it.
Why? That's why it kind of flops.
Yeah,
people hear about the bad rowing.
I think all the like crew teams across the U.S. were getting ready to see it because someone told them there's rowing in it. But then one person saw it early and they went, guys, the rowing's fucking bullshit. And so all of them canceled their tickets, got refunds immediately. And
That's probably why they put all those. Oh, I'm saying this is probably why they put all those reshoots in Captain America 4. You know,
rowing. Yeah.
$150 million rowing. Yeah. A lot of the times it's little mistakes like that ruin it for you. Yeah.
Do you think of just if they just done that one reshoot, how much more money this would have made? Every crew team in America going to see it. Opening weekend.
And then they all bring their friends because they love it so much because the rowing's so good. They're like, I've been waiting for a movie like this. Not that crew team movie that came out earlier this year. No one like that. The Watcher, that's the one you're going to love.
Yeah. I mean, they like the rowing in that, but they were like, oh, it's so schmaltzy, though. It's not really my thing.
Yeah. Exactly. I spin the wheel again. Tick, 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 tick. Land on one of DJ's Wonderland. What's that all about?
So our good old professor, he decided to call his little fortress Wonderland.
Yeah.
What the hell?
That's another metaphor, guys.
Yeah.
Willy's Wonderland?
That's right. Willy's Wonderland.
At night, the animatronics come in.
There was a bird in there.
Yeah.
There was a bird, and people got killed by things that activated at night. Bam.
And one of them was a ballerina, which one of them does ballet dancing in this at one point. Bad ballet dancing, it seems like, or something, but something.
One of them dances, and another one pretends she's a ballerina.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we keep finding metaphors in this stupid thing. So here's what Wonderland is, ostensibly. There is the top part, which is they call it the cradle, I guess. Is that what they call it?
No. It has a different word. It's what you call where birds go.
The cage? The coop, thank you.
Coop. That's it.
So, the chicken coop.
Right, they call it the coop.
Another metaphor.
That has the big two-way mirror so the watchers can watch, and all things Anna described. The TV, the table, the piss spot, da-da-da. But then there's the underground part below the vault safe that they didn't care to look for that is like way bigger down there.
Yeah.
It's got like a tunnel with like a cell. It's got a lot of food and a computer and all this stuff. And it's like, haha, I did it. This is where I shall do my research. Who built this? Who laid the cement? Who dug the foundation? Where did he get all the stuff? How did he go back and forth? This thing should have been built by aliens. It's like, I'm lucky I found this. It's so good that I found this. Not that I made it. This is mine. Because the plans for it are in his office that are eventually found at the end of the movie. But this for me was the most batshit thing in the movie. Like, this thing shouldn't exist. It should not exist.
Well, listen, they actually hired fairy labor for this one. He actually went up and talked to them, was like, hey guys, you know how you like really want to know what humans are like? If you help me build this huge concrete bunker, then I'll help you trap a bunch of people. because, like, I know you're so driven by hate that you immediately kill any human you see, but this way you can't get at them, and then you can watch them and learn what they're like, and then question mark, question mark, question mark.
That is, though, how this should have worked out, is like he somehow made like a deal with the fairies, because the fairies like, we want to watch people. He's like, I can facilitate that. Because
especially because he's like obsessed with fairies. You'd think he would, if a fairy, and like making bargains with unforeseen consequences is like a huge thing in fairy stories.
Yeah, and like he lures people to there, right?
He implies that he does that at some point.
I think he did that to the people that made it. He lured day laborers. Yes. I'm not positive about this. So I think this is how I read it. That every day he would hire 15 new day laborers to build this thing. And then every night the fairies would eat them. And then every day he'd hire 15 more to take up the work that the other ones just stopped doing. And after a bazillion day laborers, he had a full coop end situation, but Wonderland, whatever.
It would take, you would need construction equipment. You would need, like, this isn't like pickaxe and shovel work. This is intense construction work.
A bicycle, like a flashlight,
bunker dug out in the ground. Like, that's a lot of work that needs to get done.
And it is sealed, and it is like, there's just no way. Like, this would be a shack.
You kind of figure in a movie like this, the way it's going to get explained is like, there was this secret, World War II bunkers that nobody knew about.
Yes.
That like the professor found and was able to repurpose for this.
Maybe he built the top part on top of the bunker for, again, like, Diggins, to your point, that there should have been a bargain with the fairies or something. I don't know how he would have communicated with them because they kill all humans on sight, but maybe he like found out a way. Maybe it was notes. He wrote a note in the day, the fairies wrote one at night, and then they just exchanged notes.
They do appear to be able to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if he stood on the other side of the divide that like they can't cross, he could conceivably talk to them, Yeah.
Just like go out with the boat, go out, they come to the shoreline to try to kill you, and you're like, hold on, guys, I have a proposal.
And like there's no nuance with these fairies. They're not even like vampires, right? They are just like the zombies from like the I Am Legend. Like, they're just that. Yeah. And it's like, there needs to be more depth to them. Like, I guess there's a couple parts where, like, pretending to be Jonathan, even though it's so transparent, they're like, that's not Jonathan, you idiot. But like, it's there just needs to be like a little bit more depth versus like, I'm just gonna kill you. Like, it just becomes uninteresting.
So there's the like whole like they want to kill people because they want revenge because humans trapped them here.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like we never get enough detail on that to know why humans trapped them. It's like, were they actually turning evil? Were we just scared? Like, what was the deal? Which makes it hard to know how sympathetic they should be.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they were having too many half-breed children and like we couldn't compete because they're tall and cool and have alien powers or whatever. We're never going to have any
incels from 6000 BC were like, fucking fairies are stealing all of our women. We need to do something about this. If we let the fairies keep moving here, then they're going to have all sort of half fairy kids, and then there won't be any more good white Irishmen here.
That's right. Yeah. I think that's probably what it was. And then they locked them in a bunker or something. Like, they locked them underground in the holes, or did the fairies always live in the holes and they cursed them to not be able to go outside?
They didn't live in holes originally, I don't think. They cursed, the curse drove them underground and made them unable to bear the sunlight.
Gotcha. That makes sense. They spun the wheel again. Tick, 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 tick. Landed on one of mine. They have no dicks though, right? Like, eventually people would start looking for dicks and find that these guys don't have them.
Well, so in fairy form, they don't have dicks, but like, presumably when they're mimicking humans, they can model the pubis.
I don't know. When they walk out of the forest, all now mimicking the guy that they just caught, like, they all look exactly like him except for no dick. And it seems like it's because they just didn't see his dick, but they would have seen it by now. He would have shown it to them in the little thing, you know. They're like running out of ideas, can't do any more ballet. Hey, everybody, look at this.
I mean, he also explicitly talks about how they use the piss pot in the bunker.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be like in the corner or something? I feel like you won't do that to the audience.
But you can't turn your back to the audience, Nando, so you've got to give them a little full frontal while you piss.
That's fair. Although a bunch of characters turn their backs to them and nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
that's
that
weird,
rule
right?
doesn't actually matter at all. But shut up, don't think about it.
Yeah. What was I going to say about this?
I mean, they must at some point have dicks if they give birth to half-human children.
That's true. But I think,
Or at least there must be some form of genitalia going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. What did you think of the fairy designs in this movie overall?
I didn't love them.
Honestly, I thought it was kind of neat, the like way they unfolded and were so unnaturally tall. Like when you get close up, as is often the case with the CGI monsters, it's not amazing. But I feel like the shadows and hints and like views in the distance we got, I thought those were good.
Yeah, there's that one scene when everybody's trying to run away to the boat and you get one of your first close-ups on the fairies and it pops out of the hole and goes, wah! And I had to rewind that a couple times. I was like, that's bad. But they were.
You know what? I didn't like the noises. The little like the clicker from
the
Last of Us.
Chitters.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah. No.
Yeah. I liked it. I was like, I wish all movies were chittering instead of people, you know? Pretty cool.
Nando was like,
I watched
more chittering, less people.
Yeah, I watched it with subtitles, and there were a lot of the subtitles were just chittering, like Kinsu's or something. So, yeah, they thought about that.
I watched part of If with subtitles, and at the start of If, it says nostalgic music plays. And you can't just call music nostalgic.
You can in the script that John Krasinski wrote.
Especially
You're
if
going to get
it's
a real nostalgic song here.
That isn't anything anyone is nostalgic for. It is a new composition is by definition not nostalgic.
Maybe. But I mean, weren't you nostalgic for it when you heard it? You were like, wow, it's like a live action Pixar movie. You know, it sounds just like one. Derivative, that's what it should have been. Derivative music plays or something.
Then I would have been like, wow, that's spot on.
Yeah, nostalgic was the code word for derivative in the script, because otherwise they would have got sued. But yeah, I'm spinning a little one more time. Tick, 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 tick. Landed on one of DJ's. Where is it? Yeah, defeating your mortal enemy with the truth.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is basically the climax of the movie. So the lead fairy, oh god,
Madeline. It's a human name.
Madeline, like the little French girl. All the kids in a line. Yeah.
Thank you. So, but like, not the lead, but the halfling. She confronts Nina, and like Nina's like, I know what. Like Madeline's about to kill her. She's like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna take your form, and I'm gonna be you. I'm gonna live as you, because that's my goal. That's what I'm gonna do. And she's like, I know what you are. And like basically explains to her that she's a halfling. And during the course of this, it's like, I don't know what's happening, but Madeline is like being defeated, and then she like grows wings and kind of transforms, and then like flies away. And I'm like, what did I just watch? What was this revelation that made Madeline be like, oh no, my entire character's motivation has now changed?
Well, you see, she used facts and logic to destroy her.
Oh, yeah. That's not my 2024. Not what no. That's not how we do it.
No, so, like, it's actually even funnier than the way DJ's describing it here, because it starts with her being like, you can walk in the sunlight because you're half human. And Madeline's like, no, and does start, like, twitching and, like, breaking her bones or whatever. But then Mina keeps going and is like, and we have to learn to accept the parts of ourselves that we don't like. We need to be be kind to ourselves and, let all that anger and hatred go so we can be full people again and not hold on to the past and the things that hurt us. And that is having the same effect where she's like, no, therapy! Ah!
Mm-hmm.
And also another instance of someone just saying the themes of the movie out loud.
But yeah, especially while we watch clips of the car accident again, in case we forgot.
Yeah, and it's not
clips of Madeline protecting them when she was pretending to be human.
Right,
like,
yeah.
You protected us because you care a little, maybe.
It's not just that Madeline's reaction is one of like, no, how dare you say these things? That's not true. It's not the Luke Skywalker. That's not true. That's impossible. This is like Lex Luthor holding kryptonite up to Superman. Like, I'm being defeated. No, like that is Madeline's reaction. It's such a weird choice that it's not like this disbelief. It's like, I'm being spiritually punched by your words.
It seems physically painful for her to be like diagnosed like this.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, she's getting it read to her. Like, this is what happens when people really get to you, You're like, I'm gonna turn into a big skeleton or something. Has that ever happened to you? Someone's insulted you in a way that's made you go like, man, got me. Nailed it. And then
one has to assume she's learned a lot about human behavior from watching reality TV, so it makes sense that all of her reactions are way wrong.
It would be funny if that was her whole personality, though. It was like reality TV. That'd be cool. This character
maybe
only
that's
knows
part of being a fairy is that when someone insults you so much, it breaks your bones.
Yeah. And she keeps like throwing glasses of like throwing martinis in people's faces. And it's like, that's how us humans disagree. Everyone knows that. Like, I don't think so, but I don't know where you got that from.
I gotta say though, they don't, as far as these being fairies go, or British folklore fairies, they don't do my favorite dumb rule for the Fae that I always institute in any like role-playing thing I do or whatever. Yeah. Which is that the Fae cannot lie. Everything they say has to be true.
Okay.
And that's why it seems like when she's doing that, you're like, oh, okay. Like when she's like, I never lied to you. But it's not true. She's totally lying the whole time.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely lying. So like, it's not what's happening here. But like, I always enjoy that because it's fun. It's clever to have someone who says things that are true but mislead you.
But like, is that even possible in this movie?
Well, not in the way it's written, no.
Right, yeah. So like, I can't imagine a crafty fairy who's like, well, I can't lie to them, but I'll figure ways to like massage the truth, or does like omission of the truth count as a lie?
Right.
Yeah, no. Okay. The prohibition, TJ, is simply that you cannot knowingly and willingly speak a mistruth. You don't have to tell people the whole truth all the time. Right. In fact, fairies are still known in that folklore for being extremely deceptive. They just cannot literally speak something that is untrue.
Yeah. I bet at some point in the original writing of this story, that was part of it. And then as it got more complicated and they started realizing that wasn't what was happening, they just gave up. But they left that part in the movie in where she's like, I don't lie because I'm a fairy, pretty much.
Right.
That's pretty cool for
but yeah, it's not part of the folklore that fairies are weak to therapy, so I don't know what was going on there.
Not yet, but it might be now.
It hurt her, but then she grew wings. So
yeah, which is something the curse took away from them, right? Is that they didn't have wings anymore.
Yes.
So
like kind of, but some of the fairies that we see have like what seem to be almost wings. Like it seems like they could have wings if they wanted to. They're just not very good.
Well, I think that's the thing, is that they can't fly. So they might have like vestigial wings, but they can't use them. But she can use it. We see her use them.
Right. And you'd figure that's just because she's a changeling. You could change into somebody with wings, I guess. I don't know. How do changelings usually work? Do you have to have seen the person do a thing to change into them?
So you're talking about like a shapeshifter type, and that's like a different thing. Like changeling doesn't necessarily mean a shapeshifter. It just means a fairy that got switched out for someone's baby.
Right.
So, like, there's really no hard and fast rules for a lot of this because it's folklore. People make up different stuff. But yeah, I mean, generally, in old bullshit magic stuff, they can just do whatever.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Just turn into fucking, like, Street Fighter or whatever. They could turn into cool shit. Yeah. This is pretty much a whole room of mystiques now. But instead they just turn into little girls and stand outside people's houses. Ooh, scary little girl.
Until you guys saw the post-credit scene, right?
Is there a post-credit scene in this?
No. Yeah, where Patrick Stewart shows up to the forest and is like, I'd like to talk to you about the X-Men initiative.
Damn. No, that was pretty cool.
And then it goes, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. That's how you know it's good. Only one thing on the wheel. Just want to run this by you real quick. There was one point in the movie where I kind of thought that I was like, oh, this is clever. And then they didn't do it. But remember when she's in the tunnel thing, or in the tubes, she went down the tube and the thing reaches out to her, right, through like the smoke, and it has like a weird hand full of bullshit, but it also has like 6 fingers on the hand.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys for a second go like, oh, this movie's about AI? That's what they're trying to do, is replace these people, nice. And the monsters can't get the fingers right. And that's supposed to be our first clue that, like, that's what they're doing. This is just a labor force being created or something to usurp them. And that's why they're watching them.
Like, kill 1 million day laborers to build a bunker. That's just part of it, right?
Exactly.
All the human cost to make the AI.
All this movie needs is one a company being like, yeah, we funded this because we wanted cheap labor, and this felt like a really good way to do it.
Yeah. If instead of some random Irish folklore professor, it was Steve Jobs, then all of this would come together.
It'd be pretty cool. And I did kind of think that was what it was. Like, honestly, when that happened, I thought it was so much that was what it was, that I was like, oh, is all this Nordic shit just like a trick? Is this something that they put like a coat of paint that they splashed on this weird experiment they're doing in the forest to trick people? Which is not what it was. But I
feel like you could change just a little bit of this, and I would totally buy that.
Oh, for sure. That was why she couldn't. Oh, in my head, that was why she couldn't steal the bike either. It's because they were using that for captchas. They were going to have traffic signs down there or something. Train the things to the captchas. But
love that.
Yeah, this movie's not good. Anything else about the Watchers? I mean, they're not going to make a sequel, but I kind of want to see one where the fairies take over the world. That's kind of cool.
Never say never in a world where Glass got made.
That's true.
I don't know. Won't they hear?
Who from the Glassiverse could deal with this? What if Bruce Willis showed up at the end of it? That would have been pretty cool. You know?
Ooh.
And, but yeah, you didn't do that.
Aren't people speculating based on some like weird wording and like preview stuff that Trap movie might be in the Glassiverse?
What?
Really? How so?
I don't know. It's just the way they talked about like another film in the M Night Shyamalan universe or whatever.
Oh.
Which could just be them using stupid marketing speak in the age of cinematic universes. Or it could mean that Trap is going to go up against Mr. Raincoat at some point.
Yeah. Trap, Glass, Split. They all have similar names. I would buy it. Plus, he's a serial killer. Like, that's what Mr. Unbreakable goes after all the time.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what Mr. Split is, and Mr. Glass.
And Mr. Unbreakable used to work security at, like, a sporting event or something, right? That was his first job, so he'd be perfect for this.
It's all coming together.
I'm excited for that because it's probably also going to stink, but it'll be probably pretty interesting podcast.
I bet we'll do a pod on it.
Oh, for sure. We're getting trapped. Sure. By the way, did you see they put out the pictures for Gladiator 2? And it apparently comes out the same day as Wicked.
Oh.
So now that people are doing the Wikitator or something like that, they're trying
really
to make that
want
happen.
another Barbenheimer.
Of course.
They want it so
really
bad.
do. And they need to save cinema. Bad Boys can only do so much, and Inside Out, I guess. But they could use it.
Dune.
And Dune, that's true. Speaking of that, do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
Yes.
I would love that.
All right, let's recommend some things. DJ, what do you have to recommend to the fine people?
Just one recommendation this week, Nando.
Wow.
I mentioned this show before, but we got season 2 of The Mole. It's back, baby. So, okay. For those who may have not heard before, The Mole is a show that I know, Nando, you mentioned before that was like from like 20 years ago, like circa 2003.
Anderson Cooper used to host it. It was great.
Yeah, and the idea is you have a group of people. They're trying to win prize money through various Survivor-esque kind of competitions. And there's one person in there who is the mole and trying to sabotage everything. And then there's a winner at the end, be a good person or bad person. Again, one of those just like classic, like good versus bad, hidden identity games. Very fun. Love it.
But if the mole wins, do they chicken out and give all the money to charity anyway? Because if the whole thing was bullshit?
Well, no,
only if they're
all
a celebrity.
They're all random.
When they did this, yeah.
I guess there was a celebrity mole. Where
the
that
celebrity
was
moles, I think they did do that.
Yeah.
No, there was that one show where that one guy, where it was like good guys versus bad guys, and it's like the good guy shares the money, but the bad guy gets all of it. And a bad guy won, but they're like, actually, we're not going to give the money to the bad guy.
You're talking about F-Boy Island.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
That was such bullshit.
Oh, we were all mad about that.
There hasn't been another one of those, has there?
There was a
Since
third
season 2.
There was a third season that was exclusively on like the CW, so I assume no one watched it.
Oh,
but there was a third season. I never watched.
Did they ever go F Girl Island?
That was the second. Were they supposed to?
Yeah, they did. It was
People thought
F
F Girl Island was going to be a spin-off they were doing because of like some like tests they were doing with market research groups.
Yeah.
But I don't think they ever did.
CW rebrands F Girl Island as Lovers and Liars. Well.
Ugh.
Are you sure they didn't rebrand it as MILF Manor?
Oh, MILF Manor this season is so good. The dads are into the MILFs.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Can't.
This time there's dads.
Some lines I will not cross.
Some DILFs to go with your MILFs.
Anyway, The Mole this season, it's good so far. I like the crop. I think it's a really good crop. They mixed it up this time. They got a couple of different types in there. Not all your
some fairies, some humans, some daywalkers.
Some half fairy, half human.
We'll never know. That's it. This is like the mole, but it's like the fairy situation. You don't know which one is a fairy or not. You know,
is it the young boy, the woman of regular age, the other woman of regular age, or the creepy old weirdo who knows everything? Who could it be?
The information.
We will find the mole. I'll give like one pitch is like barely a spoiler. I guess skip ahead. It's the trailer that they show in like the Netflix. Like if you hover over it, this is the clip they play. So they've got some money in the pot, and there's like the immunity isn't via voting off because like they don't want it so you could vote off the mole. You take a test to answer questions about who you think the mole is, and whoever gets it the worst is eliminated. So you can get immunity from this test so that you don't have to take it so you get safe for another week. So they have a game where they've already won some money, and they're like, all right, you're all in this room here. The last person to leave this room gets immunity. For every second you can stay, we're going to just drop the money pot. And if there is more than one of you when the pot hits 0, no one gets immunity. And it plays out in like the funniest way possible. Like they did not get, I don't want to say all, but like there are some dummies on this show who just make all the wrong choices, and it's hilarious. Like
that's cool.
I'm getting some like comedy from this season of The Mole that I didn't get from the first one because I think there were a few too many gamers, and like I don't think that's bad, but I forgot that when you have a show like this, you have dumb people in there along with the gamers. It's very, very fun. That's like the mix you need to make like a nice, tasty soup. You get some gamers and like some idiots, and it's so fun. This show has like the right balance, but the idiots ruin this game in the funniest way possible. Like that specific game, the one
that game feels bullshit to begin with. There's like no reason to leave.
Right? No, exactly, right. And it's like you should just stay and let it hit zero, and we all lose, right? Like that's what you should do. Like, is that the game theory you're saying?
I guess,
well, like,
yeah,
what's
but in the
incentive to stay? What do you get or what's the incentive to leave? What do you get if you leave?
More money stays in the pot.
Yeah,
but only if everyone else also leaves.
Well,
right,
if
if
only
you're
one
all
person
good guys,
stays, it also stops, right?
Well, but what I mean
and the
is,
person,
like, everyone except one person has to leave for you leaving to mean anything.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I see. This is a classic mole situation, though, where you have to be like, everybody that left except that one person, that person's the mole, but then also just general selfishness could have. Yeah, I like this. This seems fun. What channel is it on?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so cool. All very accessible, and they're doing the episode drops in a dumb way that I can't even figure it out. I think it's over 3 weeks, and it's like 5-3-2. It might even be even dumber. It might be 5-3-1-1. But yeah, I just want to give like one more, and not really a recommendation because I already recommended it, but this past Sunday was the season finale of Demon Slayer, the Hashira training arc. It's like the most beautiful episode of animation I have seen. I don't know about ever, but in a while. It's so beautiful. Like, you can't just watch it because contextually you'll have no idea what's going on if you've never watched Demon Slayer. But if you just want to watch something really pretty for 30 minutes, it's freaking beautiful. It's I can cry. It's so good. But you know, I feel like at this point, if you're in on Demon Slayer, you're in on Demon Slayer. But hey, Nando, if you want to catch up, they're finishing off the series with a trilogy of movies. So there's no more TV Demon Slayer. They're just going to drop 3 movies until then. After they drop the 3 movies, they're like, actually, we're going to put more on television. Like, not more
because we love money.
Right, not more after it. It'll be like, oh, we'll do like a extended cut that's now on television. So yeah.
So this is like a reverse Divergent. The movies or the show is so successful that it branched out into movies.
Well, I think what happened is that because they have released like Demon Slayer movies that are just like 2 episodes like stitched together, like a season finale and a season premiere, and they make so much money that I think like UFO Table and Aniplex and whoever the decision makers are like, well, we could just make a lot of money if we turn this into 3 movies, and I think that's what they're doing. So
for them,
yeah. But that's all my recs. Diggins, how about you, good sir?
First, I'm going to really quickly underline my last rec. I beat 9 Sols now. Game's phenomenal. You should definitely play it. Everything I said last week it still stands, and it sticks the landing super good. Then for new recs, I watched a little movie called The Bikeriders. Which is, it's like a fine movie. Like, it's pretty good. It's not going to blow your mind. It's a very standard sort of like, story about this thing we had that had its problems but was good, and then it all went to shit, and we feel bad about it, but life goes on. But it has the benefit of having Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, and Jodie Comer in there, all doing the most insane accent work of their careers.
Nice.
Wow.
Even insaner than I'm going to destroy you, Batman. I was born in the darkness.
Even Elvis voice?
Even Elvis voice, yeah. It's crazy. Jodie Comer is actually doing the most. Her voice is... The accent she's doing can't exist in reality. It simply can't. Damn. It's so crazy. But it's good. They're like doing good performances. They're just also using these absurd accents at the same time. So that was the main source of joy for me. I think it's generally like a good performance showcase. Like, the story's fine. You're mainly there to see the performances from those 3 lead actors, and there's a few, like smaller role people who get in there. Your Michael Shannon, your Norman Reedus. etc.
He loves his motorcycles.
He does love his motorcycles. But yeah, The Bikeriders, if you don't know, is a movie about a motorcycle. It's a fictionalized version of a book someone wrote following this motorcycle gang in the 60s and 70s. And just sort of like how it got started, how it got kind of like it started getting popular, and then how things sort of went downhill from there. But yeah, so that was fun. And I think it is worth watching. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend?
Sure. Oh, I got a bunch of things. This is a new rec. I've probably even wrecked this old movie a bunch before in the show. But yesterday, or not yesterday, well, yesterday we finished it. But a couple of days ago, Hannah mentioned she'd never seen My Cousin Vinny. Watched it. Still great. Everyone should watch it. It's great.
The movie they accidentally gave Marissa Tomei an Oscar for?
That she totally deserved. And everybody should get Oscars in that movie. Everybody else got the Oscar of You Have a Career Now after that movie. Like, I mean, there's just so many people where you're like, that guy from that.
The accidentally thing, to be clear, is not true.
No, it's true. Although, I will say, I had not realized, I've seen this movie many times before. I had no idea that was Ralph Macchio from The Karate Kid is one of the boys. I just kind of thought he was just some guy. But no, he's Ralph Macchio from The Karate Kid. Yes, I assume Ralph Macchio was a one-trick pony who did Karate Kid and then bowed out of Hollywood forever. I did not realize he was in other movies.
He also did a few episodes of Cobra Kai.
Well, for sure. Yeah. Obviously, he brought back that character. And maybe he brought back that character, his Cousin Vinny character in that, too. And then they had like a little episode where both actors were, it was him doing both characters. That could be kind of fun. Maybe he's a lawyer now in universe. I liked Cobra Kai, except for there's way too much of it. But anyway, My Cousin Vinny, great. I've been watching a lot of old clips. Martin Short is doing the rounds, doing Jiminy Glick again. Jiminy Glick isn't perfect. It is aged weirdly, but it's pretty funny. I think we need another Jiminy. You guys know Jiminy Glick?
I'm vaguely aware of this.
Yeah, same.
It's this idea that like Martin Short plays a guy who, first of all, he dresses up in like a big bodysuit and like has like a weird hair and does a weird accent. There's all that. It's got Borat-iness. But the vibe of this guy is he goes and does interviews with celebrities where Martin Short just roasts the celebrity as part of the interview. It's honestly kind of like the Between Two Ferns, but more high energy and more kind of improv-y, and not written. So like the guys have to kind of, go back and forth. But like he's just really funny. I think I wish they could figure out how to really bring Jiminy Glick back, because I liked it a lot. Let's see. But okay, two new things from this week. I watched a movie. I watched Monkey Man. Diggins, I can't remember. Did you recommend this one before?
I did, back when it came out.
Yeah. Like, I'm imagining your recommendation is probably similar to mine. The karate was pretty cool and stuff. The rest of it was okay. It was good. For a first time directing, it was great compared to some first time directings we just watched. But also, it's got it's got a real vibe that it's going for. That's very John Wicky, but gross. There were a bunch of shots that felt like they were really kind of having fun with it, and I appreciate that. Yeah, Dev Patel's great. I love him so much. I don't think it's like the best movie ever, and I do think the politics of it are a little weird. Apparently, they changed the colors of some of the flags in the backgrounds of shots to make them not resemble a certain party or something like that. So all that shit went over my head, but the rest of it was fun.
I feel like it's still very clearly a shot at Narendra Modi, but okay.
So that's what I thought originally, but apparently the thing that they changed kind of recontextualizes something in it. I don't know. This is the thing. Yeah, I need someone to explain it to me.
I don't know enough about Indian politics to speak intelligently on this.
Yeah. Because it's good. It's very fun though, and I think it's got the simplicity stuff where it's just like it's John Wick. He just wants revenge. But I do think the more you get into it, the more you learn about this character, it does feel like it's pretty thought through and like it's cool.
I appreciate the stones on Dev Patel to write a scene where he takes off his shirt and a bunch of people cheer.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, and yeah, I think Dev Patel, man, what can't he do? He could do it all. I don't know. This was produced by Jordan Peele. I kind of want to see him do a horror movie now or something. You know, that's what the people do. When you want to be a cool director, and I bet his would be pretty good. But yeah, I liked it. And it's on Peacock, so that's where we ended up seeing it. Only other thing I'll say, so this is sometimes I will recommend a Nebula thing, the streaming service that I'm part of, and I love my Nebula. I do think this is the first time it's like almost like a breakout thing where I'm like, this is something. And it's funny because you recommended Mole, where I'm like, I could easily pitch this to anybody. So they have a show. So the guys that do the show Jetlag, which I enjoy, but as someone who isn't a huge travel show fan, like it's not my favorite thing. They produce like a game travel show that's very simple, and it's like, you know, production and stuff, but it's very complicated because there's lots of rules how you can travel. It's fun. But what they did that now is they made a new show called The Getaway. And the idea for it is there's 6 people. They got friends of theirs from YouTube, specifically friends who, I'll explain in a second, but, they, got these people and had them go around in a bus and do challenges and shit, like in Wyoming or something. But, like the Mole, there is a traitor among the group that is traitoring them. Ooh, isn't that something? So they got to figure out who it is and whatever. But what's actually going on is they all got the traitor card, and they're all the backstabber. They all think they're the single traitor, trying to betray the group. So it's pretty fun. I think as far as the way they like organize it, I think that part's good because there's a lot of, it's almost like in Jury Duty where you wanted to have a whole show of back of house stuff where you're like, what's it like when this guy says this? Like the people in the control room must lose their minds. Like at least half the show is them in the van behind them going like, uh-oh, I don't know how he got that. He must have guessed that because there's no way. But also I just think as a pitch for a show, it's pretty strong. I really liked it. I only watched first episode, but they did the premiere for it this week in the city. It comes out on the 10th, I believe. So it might not be out depending on when you listen to this, but yeah, it's called The Getaway. I think it's a lot of fun. They did specifically say they cast YouTube friends of theirs who they didn't think would have figured it out. So I'm taking that as a compliment that they knew I was too clever to do it. And the fact that I hate travel. That was probably also part of it. But, yeah, it's so that part of it's cool. Yeah. What are we doing next week, fellas?
We don't know.
Good question.
Yeah. We had a conversation about this and I forgot. Wasn't there something that like had a Hugh Jackman in it or Ryan Reynolds or something?
Real Steel.
Oh, Real Steel. Yeah, maybe that. We'll see. I saw, I don't know. I mean, we've got Deadpool on the horizon, obviously. We've got that other movie that we mentioned before. Up. Yep. Twisters. I can't imagine Twister 1 is great for this, but I've never seen it. So maybe that.
Neither.
Oh, you know what I could also recommend that I watched one of is that Suicide Squad anime. Have you watched any of that, DJ?
Oh, the Isekai? No, I want to.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's kind of dumb, and it's not a great Suicide Squad. Like,
yeah,
seems like they just kind of went with it, but it's kind of fun. Okay. But yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll put it in the Discord and stuff. Do you guys have anything to plug, DJ?
Just Roses and Rejections as we come up towards the Bachelorette new season. So last week we did, which I said we just wrapped the perfect match. So yeah, Diggins.
I wrote that thing about Fallout on my newsletter, a little perspective.substack.com, about how I think the show is not very good. And don't forget, my friend worked on the video game Times and Galaxy, where you play a little reporter bot reporting on stories all across a sort of like more whimsical Mass Effect style universe. Actually, the lead designer guy was one of the people who worked on Mass Effect. So yeah, you should go play that because it's very cool. What about you, Nando?
I don't think I'll have a new video out before the next one of these on my Nando V Movies channel. My Nando Cut videos, we've got, an Anderson video. I've got Gwenpool stuff on Nebula right now for that. I was going to do maybe something about The Boys or Acolyte this week because Boys was great. And Acolyte's actually also pretty good. I like that show. So I think more people will watch that. As more people tell them to, because a lot of that stuff's very wait and see. But
like all
yeah,
Star Wars
but on
things
that
now.
It really is. And like, even for me, first 2 or 3 episodes, I wasn't super into it. But episode 4, I do feel like it kind of found something new. And it is different from pretty much every other Star Wars thing, but not in the way I expected. And in a way that I do think is kind of fun. So I would recommend it to people also.
Being horny for Manny Jacinto.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that is something that I think, I've always wanted from Star Wars, and they finally did it. And I think it's pretty fun. So yeah, I'd recommend it. But anyway, yeah. So I don't think I'm going to do like full video on it though until it's wrapped. But yeah, eventually on Nebula, I'll have my Magneto pitch video, which I'm working on, which is going well. And then yeah, next week on YouTube, they'll have the Gwenpool and the Hydra Bob videos because they're both dropping next week. Next week, you'll see us with another podcast. Until then, I'm Nando Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
This is a lot.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Peace.
Bye.